Good evening and welcome to the September 9th school board meeting for Carpinteria Unified School District. I'm going to do a couple bits of housekeeping before we get to the flag salute. For anybody who plans on making public comment on different agenda items tonight, we will announce the item heading, so the letter heading, and at that time we will take public comment on all items under that letter heading. You'll have 3 minutes, and please just listen for the beep, the timer, for your 3 minutes. I try and keep it very even for everybody, so please just respect the timer, so I don't have to ask you to stop. And with that, we will begin with our flag salute. So if everybody could please stand. Thank you. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and we are going to begin this evening with C2. We are honoring exiting board member Sally Green after Meritus service with the Carpinteria Unified School District. Sally has served for 7 years, but really many, many more than that for our district and our kids and our families. And we are so lucky to have had her, and we will continue to have her in other capacities, in the many capacities she serves, and I'm just very thankful to have had the honor to serve next to you. So Diana is going to say a few words.
So Sally, in recognition of your dedicated service to the students, staff, and families of the Carpinteria Unified School District, for your commitment and devotion to the power of public schools, for your leadership, compassion, and dedication to the lives of students and their families, and for your belief in the success of every employee and student, the Board of Trustees and the entire school community offer their heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Sally Green. Thank you for your 7 years of faithful and dedicated service to enriching the lives of students in our communities through your commitment to our public schools. Thank you, Sally. Thank you. And we have our rose bush.
I know, that's gorgeous.
For your garden.
Thank you. I would just like to say a couple of things. And since I've been working with the district for 25 years, I started in 2000, so done a lot of things for the district, but I just wanted to thank Diana and Jason and Monica for working with all of us and doing all the wonderful things that you all provide to the district and to the students of this district. It's pretty amazing. And for the four of you, for Jamie and Andy and Eric and Aaron, working with you, and it's been amazing how we've been able to manage doing all the things that we do and never a cross word, and I think we've accomplished an awful lot. Programs and opportunities for students in this district. And I'd also like to throw in that I want to thank all the businesses and the companies and the corporations in Carpinteria for all the donations they give to this school district and for the children to have arts and music and PE and after-school programs, and it really is pretty amazing. It's been a real privilege, and I thank everybody for allowing me to do it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sally. And if you wait right there for a moment, I think our fellow board members have a few words for you as well.
Well, I'd just like to thank you for everything you've done for Carpinteria. As a transplant. You have done more for Carpinteria in the time that you've been here than a lot of people that have grown up in Carpinteria. And this is truly your town, and I know your family feels that way, and your community members feel that way, and we all do too, that your contributions, not just here on the board, but through CEF, through your time at Catalino as principal, but just as a community member, you know, and seeing you around town, helping with a myriad of things that people ask you to do, walking the Franklin Trail nearly every day.
I did.
Which just the example you set just in your fitness is a great it's a great model for everyone. And but it's really been an honor for me to serve on this board with you for the past 7 years. So I just want to thank you, Sally.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say just thank you. It was great serving with you. You bring so much knowledge from all your roles you've had in education, and you give so much back to the children in our community, and thank you so much.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah, I'd like to follow that up too. I saw you at the crosswalk on opening day at the school, the high school.
Yeah.
So, thank you for your wisdom and all your support. And you've always provided a bright light to us at the end of the meeting. You always had some event or something you noticed in the schools that, it just makes it worthwhile to be up here at times. And you really provide a bright light that will be missed. I will
Thank you,
miss
Eric. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sally. And we will now welcome public comment. For Sally for this item. Thank you. Anybody?
Yes, Peter.
Can I just speak?
Yes, please. You have 3 minutes.
I didn't know what I was walking into, but I remember when I learned that Sally turned 80, and my only reaction was, I hope I'm that cool when I'm 80 years old, and that active and that involved, and just to see somebody come from a role of being a principal at whatever elementary schools, and just bringing that knowledge and that dedication to Carpinteria and joining the school board has been very nice to watch, and so I just want to say I appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. We are going to move on to C3, announcement of appointment to board vacancy. We'll give Sally a minute to get her rose bush. Thank you. Thanks, Sally. So C3, announcement of appointment to board vacancy, introduction of board-appointed, the board-appointed Jeanette Alcaraz to replace Sally Green on September 3rd, I believe. It was on the 3rd. And her oath of office is scheduled for October 14th at the board meeting. I just want to say thank you to everybody who applied. I believe we had five people apply, 4 people came to the interviews, and it was really great to see this much interest in the board position. And so we look forward to 2026, the election. There'll be, I'm sure, a great field of candidates. And we will take public comment on C3. Okay. Not seeing any. We are going to move on to our oath of office for student board representative. I'm going to administer the oath of office to our new board representative, Lacey Zimmerman. So please join me at the podium over there. Okay, so please raise your right hand and you will say, repeat after me. I, Lacey Zimmerman, do hereby solemnly pledge myself faithfully to discharge the duties of my office.
I, Lacey Zimmerman, do hereby solemnly pledge myself faithfully to discharge the duties of my office.
I give my pledge that I will do everything in my power to uphold the Constitution.
I give my pledge that I will do everything in my power to uphold the Constitution.
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And to promote the general welfare of the student body of Carpinteria High School.
And to promote the general welfare of the student body of Carpinteria High School.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Do we have any public comment on C4 oath of office?
I was going to save this for later, but I think I will now, so great. It's good to have you in the seat, Lacey. You have a reputation. I'm going to I crafted it here, so I'm going to kind of look at that a bunch. But you have a reputation for working hard and for high achievement. You earn the respect of your peers and the adults in your midst, and now you are volunteering your time on behalf of district students and providing them a voice and demonstrating what's possible for an engaged student. So we really appreciate that. In the coming year, you're going to hear a lot from me, and so I wanted to clarify how the comments that I share fit into these meetings and the oversight of the district. Just like students who look to you to represent their interests and experience, district teachers and support staff elect fellow colleagues to represent their interests and experiences. And for the past 20 years, the teachers and support staff have elected myself and a team of teachers and others to be representatives for their interests. My formal title is the Employee Union President, but really what that means is that I'm the primary servant of district employees. Our team of elected representatives is responsible for sharing employees' ideas and questions and experiences with district administrators, the school board, and the community. And sometimes this role is absolutely a pleasure. We often work directly with employees during some of their most rewarding moments and life events. And at other times, the work is much less enjoyable, and it includes helping employees navigate personal hardships as well as sharing their most difficult experiences and their frustrations and their professional concerns with our district officials. So you're old enough now to know that when authority figures that they don't always necessarily appreciate being told that their decisions aren't so well constructed and informed. And fortunately, like a student representative, like the role you're in, employee leadership roles are also protected by state and federal laws. And fortunately, those laws account for the reality that powerful people like our board members and the superintendent, whether or not they appreciate it, whether they don't like to have their performance scrutinized or don't always appreciate their employees publicly demanding explanations or pointing out failures or holding them accountable, this is a right that we have and a right that you have as a student representative to share transparently what's on the minds of the students. So setting all bruised egos aside, employees are certain that USD's problems only get worse, and students' problems only get worse when we ignore them or we refuse to acknowledge that they exist. And ignoring our problems, it doesn't work in our personal lives. I'm sure you know that. It doesn't work in our family lives, and it certainly doesn't work in our professional lives. So we're here to make sure that the record is more accurate and that it might be more accurate than it might be if it was just left up to the district officials in our midst. So moving forward, you should know that teachers and support staff that we represent, we really appreciate your contribution, and thank you again.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Okay, not seeing any. We're going to move to C5, our closed session report. C5A, confidential student matter, residency appeal. For a closed session agenda item, let's see here. The board voted unanimously to deny the appeal of the residency determination hearing. For 5B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, the board voted unanimously to uphold CISC's decision in the claim. And we are now moving on to C6, public comment for items not on the agenda. So if you'd like to speak to something that is not on this evening's agenda, please step up and line up at the podium there. Just go one right after the other. You'll have, like I said, 3 minutes, and please just respect when the buzzer goes off to conclude and let the next person speak, okay?
She's separate from me.
Thank you so much.
Hello and good evening to you all. My name is Lori Lee Collins. As most of you know, I teach 4th and 5th grade at Carpinteria Family School, and I'm proud to share I helped start the school with a group of parents and administrators 23 years ago. It has been my greatest joy to experience the blessings I am privileged to enjoy each and every day as teacher Lori Lee. Upon return to Carpinteria this summer, I received the same comment over and over from dozens of folks in town or on campus. I hear you're retiring this year. I would like to clarify and answer this question posed at the board meeting on June 24th. I'm not retiring this year, and I'm actually hoping to achieve 25 years of service in 3 more years. My father, Michael Collins, who instilled my work ethic and made me mow lawns at 5 years old, would want me to strive towards this goal. Carpinteria Family School is not just a school code, not a state test score. It is a relationship built upon creating a community. It is the essence which is too hard to put into tangibles. You just know the feeling in your heart when you are a part of this community. Carpinteria Family School will always live on in our hearts, no matter the status determined this past summer. So on June 24th, it was voted, as News Hawk wrote in their title, Carpinteria Family School is closed for good. That was hard to read. Well, good and goodness is what we're all about, and I'm here to also share the goodness will always continue. This year is our 23rd year as team captains for the California Coastal Cleanup on Saturday, September 20th from 9 to 12 p.m. Please consider increasing the good vibes in our community by coming out to join this event. Last year, there were 45,000 folks who volunteered along the California coast and waterways. This is incredible. The trash picked up and the data collected helped to move public policy to take care of our oceans and estuarine habitats and environments. Did you know that the most interesting item found last year was a rubber chicken? This rubber chicken was not a victim. This is just my personal rubber chicken. If you do volunteer, please use the QR code found on the posters, flyers, and postings. Register and sign the waiver online before heading out to the beach. Jan and I would love to see you all down at Jelly Bowl Beach being of service. So thank you for allowing me to be of service as teacher Lori Lee in this amazing community.
Thank you. Lori Lee, if you don't mind, I just want to say, I want to apologize that the conversation we had during that meeting caused confusion or any hardship or harm or hurt to you. It was a broad conversation, but bringing that up or saying that, it kind of puts it out there and people get bits and pieces. And so I personally apologize to you for that. We talked with you about this,
Yeah.
but I want to say that here, that really I am very sorry that conversation caused any hurt for you
I really
or
appreciate
confusion.
that.
So
I really appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you so much. I
and I
appreciate all
just
of you.
love
Yeah.
that you have your own rubber chicken.
I do. I have a rubber chicken.
Of course
Shh,
you
don't tell the kids. Harvey might take it. Okay. Sylvia, you're up.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sylvia. I'm in fourth
Can you
grade.
press sorry, sweetheart, can you press the button so that the green light is on? If it's on, just raise the microphone higher so we can hear you better. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Sylvia, and I'm in fourth grade at Carpinteria Family School. I'm here to talk to you about the Coastal Cleanup Day and let you know I love participating because it keeps our beaches clean. Carpinteria may have the world's safest beaches for humans, but our marine life, but for our marine life, the coastal cleanup is critical. It is also really fun to participate. I would love if everybody would join us on Saturday, September 20th. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a fly fishing club meeting to go to.
Oh, have fun.
Hi. So this is a very emotional issue for me, so I hope I can make it through. So I, along with concerned community members, staff, and advocates for student well-being, come before you today with a renewed and urgent request regarding immigrant safety. Take immediate, proactive steps to support our students, staff, and greater Carpinteria community. Twice now, a group of Catalino educators formally requested a special board meeting to address critical concerns impacting our district and community. Twice, we were denied. We urge you to reconsider this inaction. The recent Supreme Court decision has significantly raised the stakes. This is no longer a matter of discussion. It is a matter of immediate responsibility. Carpinteria is considered a high-risk area. We are not immune to the consequences of federal actions, as we have seen in our own community. Other districts have already begun taking concrete steps to protect their communities, implementing policies, providing training, and establishing clear protocols to ensure the safety and support of students and staff alike. We ask, why are we not doing the same? Our students are expressing fear and confusion. Our staff members, many of whom are also directly impacted, are asking for training and support. These are not abstract issues. They are present, lived realities for the very people we are charged with serving and protecting. Organizations such as CERC are sharing many of the requests and recommendations that we as a group had hoped to bring forward in collaboration with the board and administration before the school year began. That opportunity was denied. yet the need remains and grows. The time to act is now. In light of the political climate and the known leanings of some members of this board, there is understandable concern from the community about whether this board truly stands with its students, families, and staff. We urge you to lead with humanity, courage, and responsibility. We're not asking for symbolic gestures. We're asking for action. We're asking you to do what's right before it's too late.
Thank you. Okay, here we go.
Righty, thank you. So my name is Jay Hotchner, and although I'm a CMS teacher of 24 years and the parent of a current and a former CUSD student, I join you this evening in the role of employee union representative. This evening, on behalf of district employees who just this spring re-elected myself and the members of our union leadership team, I'll share their experiences and questions and concerns, just a few of them. Moving forward, district employees look forward to working with Ms. Alcaraz to address the critical issues facing the CUSD. Our district is in a unique position at this time that she joins us. As a basic aid district, we have a significant advantage with revenues that are proportionally higher than 96% of the TK through 12 districts in the state. However, we've seen a troubling decline of over 290 students over the last 39 months, a 16% contraction under Superintendent Rigby's and your leadership. And we believe this trend is tied to several key challenges we hope you will, or Ms. Alcaraz and you will help us address. So several areas for collaborative improvement exist. Ending the legal and fiscal mismanagement pursued by current district officials and the superintendent is just one. We must ensure that our substantial funding is directed towards students, not litigation. For example, the district's legal costs have increased to 7 times what they were when Superintendent Rigby first arrived. Recently, as determined by multiple state and county judicial bodies, those expenditures include $3.5 million on unlawful attacks against elected employee leadership and the collective bargaining process. Another $4.2 million was spent to defend against prior legal issues tied to CUSD's historic and even ongoing practice of covering up for administrative malfeasance. By working together, we can prevent future costly mistakes and redirect these funds to our classrooms. Another area for collaborative improvement involves student support and programmatic integrity. The current approach to class composition has resulted in general education classes routinely being composed of up to 50% students with unique academic, language, and/or emotional needs, including non-English speakers and students with severe cognitive and emotional disabilities. Simultaneously, district officials have drastically reduced the necessary instructional aid support in these classes. This year, we've seen the cancellation of the GATE program, the near liquidation of the Carpinteria Family School, a DLI program that has divided versus united campuses and students and created programmatic worlds of haves and have-nots. And just recently, the media exposed CUSD's decision to illegally deny TK services to many of Carpinteria's families. We're ready to collaborate on solutions that ensure every student receives the support they need. CUSD's safety posture and practices also remain an area of great concern. Not only are the district's safety policies and practices a paper dragon, but Superintendent Rigby has refused to honor the district's obligations in this area. The obligation to meet with elected employee representatives at each school site and discuss safety improvements.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Jay's translation en Spanish. Soy Jay Hochner, maestro por 24 años en la secundaria, pero doy la bienvenida a la señorita Alcaraz como presidente del sindicato. Acabo de ser reelecto. Estamos fuertes como distrito de ayuda básica, pero hemos perdido 290 estudiantes en 3 años y 3 meses bajo la dirección de la superintendente Rigby. Debemos de asegurarnos que nuestro fondo económico se dirija a los estudiantes, no a los abogados. Ejemplos, $3,5 millones tirados, tratando de afectar el proceso de negociación colectivo y en ataques legales contra el liderazgo del sindicato. El distrito ha disminuido el número de asistentes en programas de educación especial y de estudiantes que no hablan inglés. Y recientemente, la negación a muchos estudiantes de kinder, pese a ser contra la ley, además la eliminación del programa de estudiantes privilegiados GATE y el desmantelamiento de la Family School, eso no habla bien del distrito. Pero creemos que podemos trabajar juntos y podemos reconstruir la confianza y restablecer programas esenciales. Señorita Alcaraz, los empleados del distrito estamos listos para trabajar juntos con usted. Now, I would like to proceed with my own
Okay, hold on
public
just a
comment,
moment.
not on the
Yeah.
agenda. First of all, in Spanish and then in English.
Okay, hold on a moment. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Veo una gran discrepancia en las reservas del distrito. Miren, o es una cosa o es la otra, pero nunca las dos. Dicen que las reservas estarán por varios años en 3% o menos. Diana Rigby, lo acabas de decir públicamente. 3% o menos por años. ¿De dónde sacas esos números? ¿De dónde? De ser así, repito, de ser así, eso demuestra incapacidad del distrito para manejar un presupuesto, demuestra irresponsabilidad. Esto sería un aviso para el Estado en tomar alguna acción. Si esto es verdad, las cosas andan mal. 42 millones de dólares del presupuesto, ¿dónde están? Ahora, esos 4.2 millones de dólares para la negociación de los 3 hombres abusados sexualmente de los 70, esos todavía ni entran al presupuesto. Volviendo a las reservas, en la última asunción del presupuesto y el último reporte interino financiero del señor Caff mostró grandes reservas. ¿Y dónde está la evidencia? Está en el video. Está en lo que ustedes dijeron. Reserva 5%, 10%, 14% y hasta más. Ya. Y eso pese a que en cuanto a impuestos de propiedad, 5%. Eso ya está tomado en cuenta. Del 7 el bajón del 5%. Y aún así, todas estas reservas. Entonces, es ahí donde no. ¿Qué pasa? O es el reporte que el señor Caff nos dio en el récord, o es lo que la superintendente nos dijo. No, olvídense. No, por los siguientes 5 años no hay más del 3%. O a lo mejor hasta menos. Ok. I noticed great discrepancy regarding the district reserves. Look, it's one way or the other. Can't be both. On social media, Superintendent Rigby just said that the district will not be above 3%. maybe less, for many years. What are you getting? Those numbers? If those figures are correct, that shows incompetence, shows irresponsibility. The state could take over. $42 million budget. What is all that money? $42 million. Now, the $4.2 million settlement with the three men, the settlement for the sex abuse of the 70s, that's not even on the budget. That's on the side. So going back to the reserves, during last budget assumption and last interim financial report by Assistant Superintendent Gaff, mentioned reserves on literature and on the record. 5%, 10%, 14%, even higher than that. So it's either your reserves or Mr. Gaff's reserves. No. His report had to be approved by all of you. It's on the record. Once again, the evidence is on the tapes. Now, a huge mistake by Superintendent Ribby and school board on the record. Last month, I asked you 3 times, and you didn't respond statewide. I asked you, are you apologizing to the 3 men for the sex abuse of the 70s? No, you did not. Instead, you complained, oh, we're going to be paying all this money. It's unfair. That's not right. First of all, you have to acknowledge the damage. And that's why the legislators created that law, for their own benefit.
Thank you.
So, once again,
Thank you.
thank you.
We're still taking public comment, open public comment for items not on the agenda. Oh.
Hello, good evening. I'm Dr. Johnny Williams. I'm a licensed clinical trauma psychologist here in Carpinteria. I'm also mother of 2 Canalino DLI students. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Carpinteria Immigrant Rights Coalition. We have grown to over 100 members in just 6 months since our formation. We're a group of concerned Carpinteria residents, parents, grandparents, teachers, health professionals, community leaders, businesses, and employers. We're all increasingly concerned about the trauma being inflicted on children and families because of ICE. We're here tonight to make requests of this board. We're handing to staff copies of our letter sent to you, the superintendent, and the union today. In recent months, we've seen alarming examples of federal overreach in Southern California schools. Immigration officials have been reported near campuses, creating fear and intimidation for families. This has led to absenteeism, mental distress, and in some cases, parents pulling children from school. We know from neuroscience and education research that students cannot learn when they're in the state of fear or fight or flight. When children are worried about deportation or family separation, they cannot focus, engage, or thrive. Schools must act as safe havens and adopt trauma-informed practices that create stability and trust. In Carpinteria, all students have the right to a safe and non-discriminatory educational experience, regardless of immigration status, And we believe that in the current political climate, 6 actions are required to ensure this right. We therefore are asking tonight for CUSD to adopt these 6 actions. Number 1, safe haven schools. We urge CUSD to establish a perimeter around campuses where immigration enforcement is not allowed without a valid judicial warrant. Our organization has formed and trained a group of volunteers who are patrolling near schools, and we stand ready to help the district create and monitor safe perimeters and walking routes. 2, provide multilingual Know Your Rights resources as required under AB 699 so that families understand their protections. 3, train all staff on how to respond if approached by immigration officers and respect student privacy at all times. 4, ensure equity in attendance policies. No child should be penalized for absences driven by fear or family safety concerns.
Thank you. If somebody wants to pick up where you left off, that's welcome.
What did you get up to, Johnny? 5. Thank you. Hello, my name is Deborah Dentler. I'm a resident of downtown Carpinteria, recently retired child welfare attorney, grandmother of 4, and also just for identification, I'm vice chair of the Santa Barbara County Human Services Commission. My colleague, Dr. Williams, got through 4 of our 10 requests, and they are all spelled out in writing in our letter that was emailed to the district, the superintendent, all of the school board members, and the union officials. Number 6 of our requests was to expand mental health and counseling services to students experiencing stress, trauma, or anxiety. Offer a virtual therapy option for students who may be too afraid to attend school in person. 7, ensure equity in attendance policies and access to education. No child should be penalized for absences driven by fear, trauma, or concerns for their family's safety. We're hoping the district will offer flexible learning options that allow frightened students to continue their education from home when necessary. 8, provide safe transportation to and from school, and we feel that our coalition can help with this. As Dr. Williams mentioned, we are already organized into trained patrols, assisting, keeping eyes on the roads around our school campuses, and we would like to partner with the district to do more of that, offering safe district-supported transit routes and monitored walking routes so that students can arrive at and leave school without fear, reducing absenteeism and keeping education accessible. 9, ensure equal access to all programs and opportunities, including school meals, extracurriculars, college prep, AB 540 guidance, and California DREAM Act resources. 10, and this is very important, we'd like to see the district help make available the family preparedness packets, have them at all school sites. These are already available at the Carpinteria Children's Project Family Resource Center, but they should also be available at every school site. And the district can really help encourage parents and guardians to become informed of the availability of these packets. I'm here tonight also to hand out our CIRC Know Your Rights cards. I've got one for every school board member and for the superintendent. I've also got with me, I'm going to step away from the microphone, but I have a loud voice. I've got a sign-up sheet if people are interested in joining. Oh, my goodness. Well, I want everybody standing and everybody sitting at home to consider reaching out to the Carpinteria Immigrant Rights Coalition. And I have a sign-up sheet tonight. Also have buttons, also have more Know Your Rights cards. They are bilingual, as all of our materials are at the coalition. Thank you so much. I hope you'll all join the Carpinteria Immigrant Rights Coalition and help protect our families, kids, and school staff.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to speak together on both Krista Municich's comments as well as CIRC's comments. And I appreciate it. We got the letter I'm trying to think, it was earlier today, a little after lunch. And having looked through it quickly, a lot of it is similar with what was requested earlier, I think it was August, by some teachers. And what I had referred them to were the things that we already have in place, a lot of these things. The safe haven resolution was done in 2017, the first time there was a concern of activity like this. But reading it again, there is a part of it that I think that there's like a continual conversation because each situation is different. We've sent out to staff and families on numerous times this year, throughout the year, what our policy is in our response to immigration enforcement, and what needs to happen. I am pleased to see that the Assembly and Senate bills are working their way through the state level to attempt to restrict immigration enforcement on school campuses, and the things laid out in there are things that our district has already and has adopted and has been doing. I was also given a sheet that I believe has been given, or at least that emailed or is available to all staff, of what to do if immigration enforcement officer comes to your school. Not to say that that's it. There's a conversation that needs to continue to happen. And so I don't know that necessarily having a board meeting is the place for that, but I do think having a meeting is something that I would be happy to meet with a group of folks to discuss what we're already doing and how that differs from what you're asking, but also what we are able to do as a district, because with some of these things, I don't know what those lines are, those boundaries are. And so I will reach out and we can figure out a time and a place to go over what I have is what we already have on record, which I believe speaks to most of what was in that letter, but not all. And that's, yeah. Okay. Any further public comment this evening for items not on the agenda?
Hello, my name is Bianca Perez, and I am a member of the Carpinteria Immigration Coalition, and I'm a concerned parent of Carpinteria School District. I have a 13-year-old daughter at Carpinteria Middle School, and today I would like to voice my concern in regards to protecting the safety and mental health of our children and families. Children should never have to fear going to school. ICE activity near schools causes extreme anxiety, trauma, and long-term mental health impacts on students, especially those from immigrant families. Parents must feel safe sending their kids to school without fear of separation or arrest. Currently, CMS has a strict attendance policy, sending email notices to parents as soon as a student has one late arrival or absence. And I know because I received one the first week of school. So I would recommend that this to be currently amended due to the current times that we're living in. The second one is school should be a safe zone. School campuses should never be used as grounds for immigration raids, staging operations, or arrests. As proven on July 8th, ICE was observed staging an operation on Canalino campus. That later led to a kidnapping of a fellow Carpinteria Unified School District parent just blocks away from Canalino School in the early morning, like around 7:30, 8 a.m. Staff and educators have the right to know the law. You just mentioned that there is something that was rolled out in paper. As being an active member of the coalition and being one of the members that's consistently out patrolling and reporting to sightings, something that has been very helpful for me has been the consistent trainings in person and the different meetings that I have attended. There are many organizations that are offering trainings to educators, and I would highly recommend that this is something that is taken into consideration. All we ask is that, you allow these staff and teachers to attend these trainings, and I'm sure that together, many organizations can bring those trainers, so that way we can be better prepared. And that's all that I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to mention one thing on the noticing of like absences and tardies. So a parent can call if there is a reason for the tardy or absence and it would be excused. I think it's dangerous to not send those notifications, because there was a time not long ago where those weren't going out in a timely manner, and there was a lot of concern about students maybe not actually being at school. The notification wasn't getting set out till 3 or 4 in the afternoon sometimes. This was years ago. And then to think, like, what if as a parent, like, I didn't know that my kid wasn't there all day, and if something terrible had happened, it's been hours. So there's a reason for those getting sent out, and it's not to penalize. Those are to notify parents. So if there is a reason, then you can call in the school and say, hey, for whatever the reason is, my child is going to be late, my child will not be coming in today. And that's we're not going to go down the avenue of not sending out notifications of absences and tardies. I can't, I would never be okay with that.
Specific notification that I received, my daughter was late
I'm sorry,
at the office.
I'm just
So, yeah.
I just want to put that out there. So, okay. We are now going to move on to C7, approval of the minutes. Oh, okay. You already.
Different topic.
You already had your time for public comment for items not on the agenda.
Okay. Can I speak on a different topic?
No, you have the 3 minutes. Each
Okay.
person gets the 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. C7, approval of the minutes. We will take public comment on C7, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 12th and September 3rd, the special board meeting of September 3rd.
Oh, September 3rd, is that the one you just mentioned?
Of August 12th and September 3rd.
Alrighty, so let the minutes show that past board member Sally Green did not announce her resignation from the board at the August school board meeting. Let the minutes show that Ms. Green delayed her resignation until it was too late for the community to access the process designed to ensure that the public selected her replacement versus the school board. Given the composition, collective experience, and insular nature of the school board's decision-making practices, this is no surprise. Let the minutes show that CUSD settled lawsuits for approximately $4.2 million, which it had claimed would cost at least $40 million. 4.2 versus 40 million. Throughout the spring, board officials used exaggerated claims of the $40 million legal settlement to justify severe cuts to student programs and an entrenched bargaining position, when in the end, the district settled for approximately 1/10 of the projected cost. Again, no surprise. Let the minutes show that employees recognize that $4.2 million spent on a settlement of 1970s abuse cases is an extraordinary amount of money. But let the minutes also show that the messaging CUSD peddled once again proved grossly inaccurate and, as is the district's practice, grossly overestimated the district's projected expenditures. Given the consistency of the district's fiscal fear-mongering, it's hard to believe the district did not intend to mislead employees, the community, and the state-appointed fact-finder on the health of the district's reserve balance. Let the minutes show that the process, the district officials not only misled the community on the health of the district's reserve balance, they also used this form of fear-mongering to justify cutting the GATE program, all but liquidating the Carpinteria Family School. The misleading narrative was also used to release the very teachers needed to provide services to the families of the TKH children that the district is now legally required but refusing to provide services to. CUSD even used this misleading fiscal narrative to further reduce services to non-English speakers, mild, moderate, severe, and special needs students who now populate up to 50% of general education classes without sufficient, and in most cases, without any instructional aid support. Let the August 12th minutes show that district officials once again inflated legitimate concerns only to acknowledge their doomsday predictions did not transpire on August 12th. And in the interim, district officials have again undermined the mission of the district and shortchanged students, employees, and their families. Let the minutes show that for the 97th board meeting in a row, our trustees once again reached a 100% consensus approval rate on all matters before them. Once again, without even a single significant inquiry in public dissenting opinion or public discussion. And let the minutes show that this is not the way a healthy organization is run, or a family or
Thank you.
relationship. Thank you.
Any further public comment on the approval of the minutes of August 12th and September 3rd? Okay, not seeing any. May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the minutes from August 12th and September 3rd.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're going to move on to C8, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. And before we take public comment, I'm just going to flag that we are removing E3, the Measure U, where is it? The Measure U Citizens Bond Oversight Committee report. Jen Cotto is not able to make it this evening. So approval of the agenda and consent agenda, we will take public comment now.
Public comment for D, or is it?
This is
different?
public comment for approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. So if what,
Consent agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
I got it. I'm figuring it out, guys.
Sorry.
I'm figuring it out. Peter Bonning from the Carpinteria Skate Foundation. It is my distinct pleasure and honor and privilege to be going into a fourth year of partnering with the school district to deliver the PUSH project to CMS students. Before I throw some staggering statistics at you, positive, I'll just say that, you know, from a nonprofit standpoint that's working in the community to deliver programming to students most in need of programming, this school district and this board and our superintendent have demonstrated a lot of positive leadership and collaborative effort to make sure that a lot of these students that need the programming we deliver are able to get it. I will stress that everything we've done for the last 3 years, and we're going into our fourth year, is all with no barrier to entry. So students don't need a ride to get there. They don't need to pay a penny to participate in a visual arts and skateboarding-based curriculum that leverages social emotional growth, financial literacy, academic accountability with district leadership, all to give kids a sense of their voice and gives them self-esteem and gives them creative self-expression and all the things they need to be powerful members of the community. We've been over-enrolled every semester for the last 6. We just started our 7th. Last 2 semesters were over-enrolled by double. This semester, I had 51 kids sign up over 2 days at the middle school. I'm in a contract, I'm in an MOU with the district for 14 students. I'm not in the business of turning kids away, so I work hard to cover the cost of any kid that wants to come in. I do not turn kids away. I had 51 kids sign up. Every day last week, I had over 30 kids in the PUSH project. Yesterday and today, I had upwards of 30 kids show up yesterday and today. Equal gender balance. We have wealthy kids, we have poor kids, we have all the kids coming together to engage this curriculum. Middle schoolers, I don't need to remind you, they don't voluntarily opt into a lot. They want to be left alone, they want to be mature and adultish, but all these kids are opting into this program. No one's forcing them to be there. They're all choosing to engage in this curriculum and engage in the civic engagement that we take place here at the skate park. And I've seen some amazing growth, and it's just really outstanding to think that we're going into the fourth year, and we just have had a ton of success I owe in large part to our collaborative efforts, so I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I look forward to keep doing this, no matter how this all plays out. We're going to keep going.
Please don't make me do it. I don't like having to do that.
Are you done?
He's done.
We'll have to have Peter here as an enforcer all the time.
Yeah, tough act to follow. Peter DeGray, thank you guys, President Diamond, Superintendent Rigby, for hearing our comments tonight, and thank you for an excellent start to 25-26 school year. My kids are just thrilled to be back in school. I'm thrilled to have them back in school, so thank you. Push Project is awesome. We are so lucky that when our kids when our 8th graders entered middle school, Push Project started, and it just, they can't get enough of it. I don't know what they're gonna do next year. They'll probably be peer mentors. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of Girls Inc., and I'm proudly serving as the president of the board of Girls Inc. this year. Unlike Push Project, Girls Inc. did not get funding extended for this school year. I appreciate that those are difficult challenges with a limited pail of money. But I don't think it can be doubted that the educational support and culture of Girls Inc. Is one of success stories. Girls Inc. is a known quantity for providing excellent service to all students in our district. Every summer for the last 4 years at my business, Two Trumpets Communications, we've had a Girls Inc. extern for the summer, and without exception, they're extraordinary girls. They're ready to work, they're confident, they're poised. And also notice each year that the community organization that puts together the Junior Carpenter of the Year Award, without fail, there's always Girls Inc. girls in there as finalists for those awards, because this is a quality program producing quality students. And part of why I bring this up is because we're in this together, and we celebrate their successes together, both CUSD and Girls Inc. Our first ever extern, Natalie Martinez, I got to read in the newspaper last year that she headed to Brown University. That's an Ivy League girl from Carp Unified, so thank you. And I think that's some evidence that this partnership is going well, and we appreciate the partnership because it's been going on for about 30 years now. And additionally, when I go talk to teachers, I find it amazing what they tell me. Before they even are aware that the girls at Girls Inc., they can point to the girls in their classroom that are the ones, because they're the first to take the leadership role. They're running for office, they're volunteering, they're helping out their peers. Those are Girls Inc. girls. And tonight you'll hear from Kenya and Madeline are here with the Girls Inc. staff. These are quality people with quality programming. And we've been doing it for a while. I think we've had a Harvard student come out of Girls Inc. recently, and these are high on the resume of achievements for CUSD, so thank you for that. So please, in the future, when making decisions about funding, consider this track record, consider our relationship. We appreciated it, and consider investing in the shared success that we've enjoyed for all these years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenya Rodriguez and I'm the Programs Director for Girls Inc. of Carpinteria. Our Executive Director, Jamie Collins, regrets that she couldn't be here tonight, but I am so honored to speak on behalf of our team. I want to begin by expressing our sincere gratitude for the incredible 30-year partnership that Peter pointed out between Girls Inc. and the district. We truly value our longstanding collaboration and the opportunity to serve students and families across Carpinteria. I don't live in Carpinteria, but I am so blessed to work here through Girls Inc. and have had the opportunity to work with many CUSD students, so thank you. Throughout the years, we've worked together to meet the evolving needs of students, from supporting remote learning during COVID to providing essential programs like literacy initiatives, our STEM and college-bound Eureka program, child abuse prevention, and our healthy sexuality program. And this year, we've expanded our efforts with no-cost in-school STEM program at Canalino, recess programming at Aliso, Canalino, and CMS, and of course, our healthy sexuality program for the middle school. Altogether, these programs represent over $110,000 in in-kind value for the year, and we are proud to contribute to the success and well-being of the students in this district, and we remain deeply committed to continuing this work. We are in the business of raising the next generation of leaders, and we truly appreciate the district's support and look forward to our ongoing partnership for years to come. Thank you for your time and for everything you do for students.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you. This evening's consent agenda is a pretty good example of why district officials likely reduced board meetings to just one a month. Tonight, a member of the public has just 3 minutes to provide comment on 24 individual topics. That's approximately 7.5 seconds per topic. Meanwhile, several topics are included in violation of the Brown Act, which prohibits several of these topics from being crammed into a single consent agenda for a single up and down vote. Once again, district officials obstruct transparency and the public's ability to better monitor the district's governance of public tax dollars provided for the betterment of Carpinteria students and families. Regarding items 1 and 2, no surprise that the district makes no effort to compensate district faculty for the extra contractual service they provided the CME trip, 72 straight hours away from their families and their children and their personal responsibilities with no additional compensation. Regarding items 3 and 5, once again, Ms. Garcia, incredible Ms. Garcia sacrifices another considerable portion of her personal time to support students' families and the district's reputation by providing service far beyond contractual expectations without any equivalent compensation. Why doesn't CUSD recognize their FFA teachers with additional contractual compensation versus the generosity, versus taking their generosity for granted? Isn't this why her predecessor, Mr. Lopez, left CUSD? No. Yes, it is. He told us. Will we also have to lose Ms. Garcia before the district recognizes that asking so much of district faculty while refusing to compensate them adequately not only drives away young talent like Ms. Garcia, but it negatively impacts district students? Items 6, 7, and 8 represent over $1,150,000 in additional special education contracts paid to external agencies at very high hourly rates to cover services that CUSD, before Ms. Rigby's devastating management of the program, was able to provide in-house at a lesser rate, more efficiently, and more consistently. Items 9, 12, and 15. Employees encourage the board's approval on funds paid in support of the PUSH project, Girls Inc., and services from FSA. They are proven entities and clearly bring value added to programs that directly support students and families. Regarding item 14, $43,000 for surf lessons. How many students at the junior high who are reading several years below their grade level and desperately need academic support will not get that support because it is being spent on surf lessons? Who is really being served by this club, and what are the measuring tools that we're using for success? Since Ms. Rigby has said we can't afford instructional aides during the school day, why aren't we investing this money towards increased EL and SPED aides in the after-school tutoring support or for small group instruction? Regarding item 23, tonight the revised local local control and accountability plan will be quietly approved. 105 pages containing thousands of data points, and we call that accountability. Thank you.
Okay. May I get a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda, removing E3?
I will move to approve the agenda and consent agenda as modified.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? I just want to thank our community partners for the work they do, Girls Inc., Peter, and others, and I'm really excited for the school year. Everything on here, almost everything on here, is a renewal or an annual event like CME, and so these are all exciting things that we get to do at the beginning of the year to renew and get going for our students for the year. So, roll call. This is a roll call, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, roll call.
Eric.
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
Jamie.
Aye?
I'm aye.
Okay. And we are now on to our student representative report with Lacey. Take it away.
Carpinteria High School has started the new school year with a really great energy, and this week's Spirit Week promises to be full of exciting activities. Tomorrow, we have the annual Rush Club, and it will take place offering students an excellent opportunity to explore and join a variety of campus clubs. On Thursday, the first student rally of the year will be held, showcasing all of our fall sports teams and MORP. On Saturday, the first school dance of the year, MORP, will be held from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the cafeteria. And the tickets are on sale now, and just a reminder, tickets will not be sold at the door. In sports, Mr. Cooney, the Warrior Athletic Director, notes that in one of the most collectively successful weeks in Warrior history, Carpinteria grabbed wins all over the place. The Warriors notched a couple of first wins of fall 2025 as the football Warriors blasted the Santa Clara Saints of Oxnard, and the girls volleyball program earned match wins over Santa Clara, Providence, and Hillcrest Christian in the fall classic held at CHS. The boys water polo team also won a big-time event as they came through with 4 wins in a row and a first-place finish at the Malibu tournament. 9 Warriors earned medals at the cross-country Scary Dairy Invitational hosted by Del Sol High School, while 3 of the CHS girls golfers tied for third on the San Buenaventura golf course. Warrior girls tennis won twice at home as they dispatched Bishop Garcia Diego before hopping over the Toads of Thatcher School. We look forward to a week of great participation and school spirit.
Thank you, Lacey. And I apologize. I jumped the gun. I was very excited for you to be able to give your first report. So thank you for your report. We are going to take public comment on all items under E at this time. So if you would like to make public comment on the items under E, public interest, reports, or presentations on the specific items 1 through 4, please step up to the podium at this time.
Thank you. So appreciate your comments again. And the buzzer rang before I'd completed some of our thoughts, and this is an opportunity to do that. I closed, I think, with mentioning that you should know the teachers and support staff really appreciate your contribution, and that the student representative report is your report. It is you and the students who decide what issues you want to put in front of the community, and we look forward to it. It's also important to know that whatever is on the minds of students, regardless of whether or not it's easy or difficult for the adults to hear these things, that we need to hear them. And so, again, thank you again, and please be candid. Beyond that, the teachers and, I wanted to also make sure, we wanted to make sure, the union, that you were aware of the following, that under California Education Code 35120, you are entitled to compensation as a student representative. And it could be in 3 different forms. Monthly financial compensation. The local board is responsible for determining the amount of monthly pay that a student board member receives. Another one is elective course credit, which could save you a lot of money moving forward, looking at your colleges and things. In addition to or instead of pay, the board can award elective course credit based on the equivalent number of instructional minutes that you serve. And the last is mileage allowance, which fortunately in Carpinteria shouldn't be too much. But student members are also entitled to receive mileage allowance for official business to the same extent as regular board members. In regard to the superintendent's report, we'll address the highly concerning enrollment data later. Regarding the class size core averages that she's going to speak to, there are several inaccuracies in your report, Ms. Rigby. We suspect you're aware of this. As we shared earlier, the current approach to class composition has resulted in general education classes composed of up to 50% students with non-English speaking, or students who are either 50% or either non-English speaking or students with severe cognitive or emotional disabilities. Simultaneously, district officials have drastically reduced instructional aid support in these classes. And by drastically reduced, what I am saying here is that CUSD is not providing any instructional support in these core general education classes. No instructional aid support in these general education classes, which again are loaded with students who possess exceptionally broad ranges and abilities and needs and challenges. We're wondering how Superintendent Rigby can justify this with the reserves that we have, and how can the school board allow this to happen knowing that these students will never get back the opportunity to turn these formative years into something better than they may, and knowing that these formative years will have such a dramatic impact on their personal and professional trajectory. Because it seems so clear to district officials, or because it seems so clear that district officials are so comfortable brushing off already concerning data related to this, elected employee leaders are collecting it, and we'll share it with you at a later time. Thank you.
Any further public comment on E?
Thank you. Rogelio Delgado, Carpinteria resident. I just would like to welcome you as the student representative, and thank you for your service, living here at least a little bit more than an hour of your time. And that's something that we should thank you. And we're going to learn a lot from you, and you're going to learn also a lot from us, from the board, from the superintendent, and once again, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. So Lacey gave her report. Now I'll give the board an opportunity if they have any comments for Lacey on her report. No? Okay. So California School Board Association does have some student board member resources. I looked and they don't have any training available, scheduled at least for this part of the year. But if anything pops up, I'll be happy to share that with you. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to E2, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you. Tonight I'd like to begin with appreciation. I'd like to recognize all the principals, assistant principals, and teaching staff for organizing the back-to-school nights at each school site, and thank all the parents who attended. When parents are involved in school, students earn higher grades, have better attendance records, drop out less often, have higher aspirations, and more positive attitudes towards school and their schoolwork. Congratulations to our CHS agricultural teacher, Miss Emily Garcia, for receiving the 2026 Santa Barbara Distinguished New Educator Award from SBCEO. Emily will be honored at the 12th annual A Salute to Teachers Gala in October, hosted by the county office. The press release is as follows. An agricultural science teacher at Carpinteria High School, Emily Garcia has transformed the school's agricultural program in just 2 years. As the school's sole agricultural teacher and Future Farmers of America advisor, she develops engaging hands-on lessons that integrate career technical education and science standards while coaching multiple student leadership and competition teams. Her commitment extends beyond the classroom, from early mornings at the school farm to securing community partnerships that expand student opportunities. Ms. Garcia is a profoundly compassionate educator who consistently seeks opportunities to broaden her students' horizons. Her innate ability to connect with students and ignite their curiosity is clearly evident in the thoughtful lessons and activities she meticulously prepares, and that was shared by her principal, Mr. Caneo. My next item is the Expanded Learning Opportunities Programs for TK to 8. CUSD receives approximately $1.4 million for free after-school programs for TK to 8 students. At CMS, 40 students participate in the daily after-school program, with additional students participating in skateboarding, surfing, soccer, and volleyball. 100 Canalino students attend the Canalino ELO program, and 80 students attend the Aliso ELO program, which offer daily structured enrichment activities in art, science, gardening, music, dance, physical education, chess, and assemblies. Additionally, after-school tutoring is available at all schools. My next item is our enrollment for this school year, and our current enrollment is at 1,812 students, and that is, we have lost about 103 students this school year, and those students that we've lost, 30 of those students were residing in communities outside of Carpinteria. So those students are returning to their home district, Oxnard, Ventura, Goleta, or Santa Barbara. In addition, we have a number of families that have moved out of Carpinteria and Santa Barbara County to other communities in California. In addition, we also have a number of students that have moved out of state. We have approximately 10 students that moved to private schools, and 10 more students moved to charter schools. My next item is the CHS Early College Program, and Mr. Caneo is here tonight. He will be providing a presentation on all the information related to that program, but I did want to let you know that in 2016, Assembly Bill 288 was enacted and added to the California Ed Code, Section 76004, which enabled the governing board of a community college district to enter a college and career access pathways partnership with the governing board of a local school district. The CCAP legislation seeks to expand the availability of early college credit. Locally, it enables CUSD to limit Santa Barbara City College classes at the high school to just high school students. It also envisions a more inclusive version of dual enrollment beyond enrichment and expands the maximum number of SBCC units per term a high school can enroll in from 11 to 15. It also encourages student completion of a degree or certificate pathway while enrolled in high school. The CCAP agreement also creates a course sequence for early college program at our high school. And this new CCAP agreement addresses matters pertaining to student access, course development, articulation, instructors, data sharing, facilities, and pathway development. Our next item is related to our Children's Creative Project in Santa Barbara County. The Santa Barbara County Children's Creative Project provides artists for weekly lessons in dance, choral music, visual arts, and theater in all of our TK to 5 classrooms. These lessons are designed to cultivate students' appreciation and understanding of the arts in the ways that are enjoyable and support students' academic and personal growth. For staffing, we are currently recruiting a preschool special education teacher and an adaptive physical education teacher. And my last item is related to professional development for our teaching staff. The K-5 teachers will participate in professional development to improve phonics instruction using the University of Florida Literacy Institute Foundations Program, which provides systematic explicit phonics instruction during the daily literacy block. And then both CMS and the high school teachers will participate in professional development in the classroom, use of AI tools to enhance instruction and support individual student learning needs. Thank you.
Any clarifying questions for the superintendent's report? Okay. I'm just going to say, at the high school, we have an average of 27.5 across the core classes. And I mean, that's the average, which means, yes, we have some lower, but we also have plenty higher.
Yes.
And that, I feel like, what was our, sorry, and this isn't fair because I didn't ask you to bring these numbers beforehand or anything. Do you know what our average was last year on our core classes at the high school?
Yes, it was closer to 25. Okay. But you'll recall that part of our budget actions, in order to reduce the budget, we cut a number of FTEs, and 4 of those cuts were at the high school. So this is a direct result of reducing the FTE equivalent at the high school level. So we were expecting higher class sizes at the high school.
Yeah.
If you deduct if you take the SBCC classes out of there,
true,
because
those are the
It's
highest.
down closer to the
to 25.
To the 25.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, would we be, well, I guess the contract with City College is for what it is, so we can't like add another class to that, like another.
No. And most SBCC classes
College class,
are enrolled over 30 and 40. That is the expectation.
Okay. Okay. All right. We are skipping E3 and we are moving to a presentation of the new theater feasibility study at Carpinteria High School. We have Joe Wilcox here to present to us.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
To bring up the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Can I control it or not?
You can, and I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's right here. So just in full.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, good evening. I'm here to talk about the feasibility study we did for the high school for theater. The KBZ team was myself and Jason Connor. We had a theater consultant, Rose Steele, who we've worked with on other theaters, and we're doing another theater with her at another high school now. She's out of San Jose area. She's probably done 500 high school theaters. She's been around for a long time, like myself. And Cobus was the cost estimator on this project. So I thought what I would like to do is kind of walk you through how we started and kind of how it all morphed into how I got to. We worked with the principal, we worked with Elise, the theater teacher, and Diana, and once in a while the assistant principal showed up. So if we start on the bottom left, the first question they ask us is, since we already have the theater in the dining area of the cafeteria, how would it work for us to, is there a pointer on here too? Yeah, here we go. How would it work for us to, oh, I did the wrong thing. How would it work for us to fit 120 seats in that dining space? And where would the stage go? So on the bottom left, we thought, well, let's try to put the stage to the north, see how it'll fit. We'd have to block off access to the cafeteria. Then on the bottom right, we put the stage on the west wall to see how that would work with the restrooms and the exiting and access. And then obviously it became very clear that this isn't going to work. That's what they're doing now. So they said, well, what if we do an addition on one side or the other, the west side or the north side, for support for theater production and props and so on. So that's the top slide. We added to the west, and we still kept it at 120 seats. And the next slide, if we start at the top, we said, okay, if the stage is on the north, what would we do with an addition to the top, to the north side? Then it was real clear, you know, this just isn't going to fit. This is a complicated building. It's a complicated structure. There's lots of glass. What if we just take that? They asked us, well, why don't you look at taking out and removing the dining area and putting a new building to the west of the cafeteria. So we did that, and we said, well, that doesn't make any sense either. Let's just push it to the south in that open space. This is a pointer right here. So once we did that, we started looking at, okay, what kind of theater do we want to look at? First theater was sort of the grandiose idea. It was in December 13th of 2024. I didn't mention we started back in October of 2024. 24. And this was an idea for if we were to put a fairly large theater on the south side. It's 7,500 square feet. It includes a lobby. It includes restrooms for the public. It includes a control room, which is raised. It includes slope seats. You can see in the section right over here, these are slope seats and an actual stage. And it includes a high section above the stage. It includes a rack for lights above the stage and above the audience. It has all the support, prop rooms, dressing rooms, restrooms for the students, and a corridor for access, and a screen. And we were asked, okay, what if we were to reduce this, because this may be a little bit too big of a project. So the next slide talks about, all right, well, let's knock it down to 4,200 square feet, and you can see the cost comparisons that Cobus Milan did for us. And the top one is the 4,200 square feet. It is one advantage of this idea is that they would be able to use the existing dining room area as support during a play, like they do now, for changing or whatever. We do have a prop yard on the west side. I'm going to get into the details about this idea because it's in all the rest of the ideas. It's retractable seats. And when we retractable seats, you're able to have a large classroom if you need it. You can use the space for building props for practicing. So the bottom left is a 6,000 square foot theater, and it has all the support space on the north side. The one on the top, the 4,200 square foot theater, only has support space in the existing dining area. So it's not the best either. And then again, the 7,500 square foot design is on the bottom right. Study 1 was $7 million. Study 2 is $8.5 million. And the study 3 is $12 million. The study says black box, but that's a misnomer. It's really a small theater. This slide is kind of out of order. It kind of shows you where it is on the site. This is a little bit larger plan of the 6,000 square foot theater. It has all the support bases in the back, has the area, let me go to the next slide, has the area for the seats that can come back. It again has a lobby, has an entrance off the parking lot, has dressing rooms for male and female, has a covered, secured but covered but not conditioned props yard. Because I've seen lots of high school theaters where the props yard ends up being on the corridor, and they're painting props on the corridor, exterior corridors, and it's not the best. This is a slide that shows you the retractable seating. It's not like gymnasium seating. It has backs. It has the slide on the bottom right shows it when it's closed, so it lets the space be almost basically be used like a black box theater. You can bring in chairs. You can do whatever you want. The slide on the left shows that the stairs and the handrails all come with it. It's all ADA compliant. And if the principal has any comments, he can make comments. Diana, if you have any comments, if you have any questions.
Board, do you have any questions or comments?
So, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
So with the retractable seating, I'm assuming it's just a flat floor, so there's no.
You're exactly right. On these last, it says flat floor all the way through. The 7,500 square foot theater has the slope seats, and that you have to have access to the stage, ADA access. It gets pretty complicated, and through all the meetings we had with the user group, they said we can live with the flat floor. We like it to be flexible. The other one is more like a miniature libero, slope seats in a stage, but they said they didn't need the stage, the formal stage.
Oh, so the stage is at the same level as the. I mean, there is no stage.
There's no stage. That's just the area.
Okay.
And they can.
Oh, there's the cross section.
There you go. Yeah.
And then, yeah, with the seats retracted.
Yep.
It's open.
And the exterior architecture is going to probably, are we going to do anything different, or is it going to mimic the existing buildings or the architecture of the new
I think we should
administration
mimic
building?
the existing buildings as best we can.
And so entry would be off of the student parking lot?
Yeah, if there was a performance that the public was invited, in fact, in that latest design, we have a ticket sales area. We have restrooms off the lobby, but yeah, it would be an entrance plaza off of the parking lot there. And then we've created access off the school for the students and the teachers to use coming through here. And then again, this is a props yard, which is not conditioned, but it has probably concrete walls up to 6 or 7 feet high, and then some screening and a roof to keep it dry, because it's really a dirty, messy area with saws and paint. And years ago when DP had their theater in what was called the small theater, those corridors, exterior corridors, were just trashed. Now they have a big theater with a props area. And they wanted to have access on the back side so that when there's a play or something, they can go from one side of the stage to the other. There's also a curtain. There's a projection screen in the design. And the control for all the sound is over here in this lower left-hand, this corner here, because it's all done now off of an iPad.
Sorry, maybe I missed it. I know I missed it. What's the seating capacity for
156 for this one.
156.
Yeah, and the other ones was 120.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
And
It's hard to.
Small. Sorry.
And the sound systems are included in this, or
Yes.
that's not an up?
It's in there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sound and lighting.
Sound and lighting. Yep.
So you're presenting a grant for this too, right? I'm joking with you.
What is, I recall when When we did the pool feasibility study, now I know like there's definitely more cost to a pool because of water and the pumps and all that kind of stuff. Do we have any type of cost, like ongoing expenses, what
No.
that would be on this? Do we have any idea of
We
like what we
didn't
would
do
expect?
that. We didn't ask the estimator to do that. I guess the ongoing costs would be electricity, maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance. Nothing like overt that I.
Does it have
Just
an
like a large classroom.
Oh, yeah.
really.
Is it'll have an HVAC system?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Standalone.
Yeah, it's all down here in the lower left-hand corner. There's an electrical room there and a mechanical room there.
What do we know about the ground out here? Is it, we got weird stuff in the ground?
Of course. Every time we go into the ground, I mean, for the Gen 7s in the science wing, we had an issue over there.
Right, but it's right across from the admin building.
Oh, which
and
we
didn't-
just did.
And we didn't have any problems with the admin building.
True.
Yeah.
It's in a
so-
different area.
Yeah. I mean, of course, they evaluate it, but we're not anticipating that.
Well, I say anticipated at this point because we've had
The
it in
Gen
almost
7s
every.
They didn't have.
Gen
the high
7s was
school
because
high
of-
school didn't really have issues.
There was something
The
at the Gen-
floodplain, we had to raise those buildings because of the
Yeah.
floodplain.
Is that what it was? There was something.
was.
I'm
It
like, there was.
ESA made us
wasn't
raise
raised to
those
build.
buildings 30 inches or whatever because of the
Right.
floodplain. And,
So this would this, because the admin building is also raised.
well, that floodplain, those maps have changed.
Oh, since then, that's
Yeah.
right. So we wouldn't, you're saying based on.
I
your
don't
analysis-
really know right
Oh,
now.
you didn't,
but
that
we'd
wasn't
have to
part of
stay-
this?
We didn't look at that.
Okay.
When I was getting the
Haven't
Gen
had to raise-
7s,
The lease's not raised as much as they originally. So I would
Okay.
imagine the high school's going to be lower than it was when.
right.
When we did
built
admin
the
and
Gen
all that.
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not taking any action on this. This is just the presentation. Any further questions of Joe while we have him here?
Well, I'd like to ask
Oh,
Elise.
sorry, I didn't see you there. Hi, would you
So
like
I'm
to
assuming that
speak
you've
to
had
us at all?
you've put your 2 cents in.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Cornejo and I and Superintendent Rigby had tons of input on this, and everything that we suggested, because I was the one who first suggested, can't we just renovate the cafeteria? And then as we proceeded, it became obvious that this is what we need to do. And since we can't do the fly loft and the huge theater like we all wish we would be able to do, but we understand that that's not really feasible, this is a wonderful, wonderful solution. And it will give us everything we need. It will give us changing rooms, dressing rooms, makeup rooms. I don't know if you're aware what we do now. As the sports medicine room has been converted into more of a storage area for district food services and maintenance, that room has gotten smaller and smaller, so it's not even really the way that we used to be able to use it as a dressing room. So now we literally are dressing in the band room and walking across, and we bring clothes and we change in sports medicine, but we don't keep anything there. And last year, we actually had to build, we curtained it in outside the corridor so that we could use it as a changing room. So this would just be so incredibly awesome to have something like this. And they worked really well with my saying where the projection screen should go, and we need some masking on the side, and where are we going to hide the piano when we don't need it. So yeah, I'm totally on board with this.
Right.
Just make it happen before I leave again.
Well, that's not going to happen.
You're not going to
Oh, boy. And so, thank you. Any questions for Elise? No? Okay. And I imagine we would be able to use this for other things when not in use.
That's the
Mr.
advantage of having
Cornejo.
the flat floor.
Yeah.
And being able to have the retractable seats, but, yeah, we had lots of meetings, didn't we?
You know, ever since I was a freshman, we've been talking about a theater at Carpinteria High School. And this is a great, we were just having this discussion today. This is a great way, just like our football team has a home at the stadium, everyone has a home. This will be a home for a theater arts program. And by having something that they can see, that we've taken pride to build for them. I think that will increase the number of students taking theater arts. At the same time, there's a great opportunity for us to use this when we have other events on campus, when we have arts and lectures activities. There's a great place for us to have staff meetings, group meetings. So this is, I am sure this is going to be become one of the jewels on campus. So.
Something else? There was a quick stand-up, so I'm like, there's something. There we go.
And we would also use it for the music performances and the concerts. So it's not just for theater arts, it's for the whole performing arts department at the high school. And as Mr. Cornejo said, he's been waiting since he's a freshman. Carpinteria has been waiting since the school site was built. There was a theater in the original design in 1967. And it's come and gone and come and gone and come and gone. And now we have a really, really good option. So I hope we can move forward with it.
I need to hire Elise to do my presentation. I didn't need to be here.
I see like an opportunity for like turning this into an art gallery for the arts, like whether it's photography or classic arts, you know, pushing the seats back and being able to set up stations all around as like an art gallery would be really neat. And then as we get into a future agenda item, early college, the idea of having a formal lecture space type of classroom would be really neat. And then using this space, we would be able to, I shouldn't assume, I'm going to ask, would we be able to rent this space out for events? Yes. As well?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so, okay. Okay, any further discussion, comments, questions? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. It was a fun project.
Thank you, Ms. Sunra.
Didn't recognize Elise. It had been so long since I saw her last. Did you cut your hair?
Okay.
Possibly, maybe, since my size.
All right, thank you. Good night. We are going to now move on to board policies F. We will take public comment on F, board policies at this time, 1 through 3.
Alrighty, so this is the second reading of the district's AI policy. It's interesting and lofty, but certainly void of clear examples for the 9 different policy statements included. So just as we did on the August board meeting, union leadership requests that district officials here and now, as you are permitted, clarify your understanding of how these policies and these lofty policy points apply to the teaching and learning environment. Please provide employees, the faculty, and support staff that will live these policies in the community specific examples of what these statements would look like in practice. We're hoping you're prepared for that. What does this AI policy look like in the teaching and learning environment where the rubber meets the road? When we spoke to this policy on August 12th, Mr. Schaefer shared that board members cannot be experts at everything that comes before them, and Mr. Schaefer and the community can be confident that neither district employees nor their elected representatives expect that you possess expertise in the areas of district governance. And for the record, that was far from the union's request. Our request on August 12th would have required a much lower than expert level of understanding to clarify some of the most basic values of the policy. Union leadership was simply attempting to determine what that fanciful language in the board policy meant, again, when the rubber hit the road. We gave board members and the superintendent the credit for being at least marginally familiar with how these policies impact the teaching and learning environment. We had hoped that there was a middle ground somewhere between expertise and ignorance, especially for those board members who have occupied seats on the school board for well over 5, 10, 15 years. Pollyannish as it may appear, we will maintain the expectation that trustees can and will demonstrate some basic working knowledge of not only the policy and the topics under review, but how they apply to the teaching and learning environment before acting to approve these board policies. When examining the way this school board routinely, unanimously improves agenda items without either significant inquiry, a dissenting voice, or public discussion, there is much reason for concern. As we asked before, what kind of healthy organization, family, relationship, or business never disagrees? always reaching the same conclusion 100% of the time. We continue to have concerns about this with you all. For 97 straight meetings, that is the school board's voting record, and it is, for lack of a better word, cultish. Can you please provide some routine scenarios that these 9 policy statements would address? And if so, we will concede the remaining portion of our public comment so the community can hear your response.
Okay. If you're going to conclude, go ahead.
Are you going to speak?
I am, but I'm not going to take your time. So I want you to use your time.
Wonderful. So you are prepared tonight. Thank you.
Any further public comment on board policies 1 through 3? Okay. Now is the time for questions from the board on board policies. Sorry, I'm going to respond first because it was mostly, the comments were mostly about AI. I'm just going to start with sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. F1, new board policy BP 0441, artificial intelligence, second reading. The board is asked to approve the second reading and adopt new BP 0441, artificial intelligence. The governing board recognizes the transformative potential of artificial intelligence to increase student access to information, support teacher effectiveness, and facilitate the administration of student assessments, as well as the potential for AI to undermine student achievement, health, and well-being. Therefore, the board is committed to supporting the use of AI by students and staff in accordance with the principles stated in BP 0441. Okay, questions from the board? Okay. May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve board policy 0441.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
So how are we limiting AI at the schools?
Our expectation is that, given the professional development that we have started with the secondary teachers, they're evaluating and assessing which tools, AI tools, that will be most effective in improving learning for students, access to materials, and increasing students' production of understanding the content that they're teaching. So essentially, this policy guides the decision-making of the teacher leaders and the teachers at the school site. They need to determine what tools are going to be most effective, but the policy guides them in making decisions about those tools. And it has to be tools that are going to improve, for teachers to improve their instruction, for students, more individualized instruction. For example, the AI tutoring tools are really effective in a history class when some of your students at high school may be reading at a 4th or 5th grade level. Then you can individualize the content of the history at that reading level. That's what an AI tool is used for. But our teachers need to be familiar with those tools, and that's why we provided professional development last year, and we're continuing providing that professional development this year.
So that'll apply both to the student and their use of it in their coursework, but also in the teachers, because I know there's the ability to feed documents in and have them graded with the artificial intelligence.
Right.
Are we going to limit that as well?
Well, at this point, we are asking teachers to work with their colleagues to make their own assessments about which tools are effective and how they're going to use those tools for teacher use. And then we're also asking them to make recommendations as to how they want students to be using AI and how they're going to evaluate the use of students using AI in their written work. So it's really teachers are making those determinations based on the professional development that we're providing. The board policy is kind of a it's a guide as they make their decisions. But the decisions need to be made at the classroom level. The teachers need to make those decisions, not us, because they know what tools will be most effective in helping them. Teachers can identify what areas they need support in, And that's what you look for in the use of a tool, is how can you support me in trying to teach, social science or biology to a group of students on the whole spectrum of performance level? How can I individualize this particular lesson for certain groups of students? Where is the most effective use of an AI tool? And then also we are expecting teachers to help us identify the parameters of student use. When and where students are going to use AI. How are they going to use it? How are they going to document that they use the AI tool? For example, it's mostly in written responses, in writing papers. So we expect that the teachers will develop a protocol for when you're asked to submit a written response and you're going to use an AI tool. How are you going to document that you use this tool, and what are your different steps between the draft and the final product? But that's really what we're expecting the departments to do with their colleagues, and to bring those recommendations back to the administration.
Very dynamic.
Yeah. So the teachers could say, hey, I think I want to use this AI tool, that AI tool. Are those tools then vetted to ensure that they are appropriate or safe? Or, because I know some are benign, but some are not. And so are the AI tools that the teachers or the departments identify as potentially for use, are those then vetted, or does IT look at that, like, for security reasons? Like, are there any issues there of inappropriate content coming through, things like that? Do we have a list of AI tools that we don't allow use on our network, anything like that, for safety and security for our students and for our staff?
Not yet. That's what we're beginning to do. That's what we're expecting the departments to make those recommendations. Okay. And then we will be vetting, the administration team will vet the tools with our technology specialist.
And how long do we think that will take?
Probably in the next 2 months.
Okay. So going through this policy specifically and the different principles that are in here, I know that coming up, there is a professional development that I believe administrators or maybe department heads are going to or are about to.
Administrators will be participating in the county.
Yeah, the County Office of Education has an AI training coming up. And then there's also an event at the end of this month that I believe the county office is putting on, and it's available for public. It's going to be streamed at different sites, but it's geared towards families and AI, and it's called A Conversation with Families. It's put on by the County Office of Education. It's a free event, and so one of the things is community engagement, and as events like this come out, the district will put out a notice of this for, just like on Parent Square, that these types of events are happening, because it's important that parents have some understanding of AI and what's out there, and that they need to be aware of its use. And then, to my point earlier, number 6 was secure and private. We want to make sure that whatever tools we're using are secure and private and aren't accessible externally. It's not like a Trojan horse, essentially. But I know there's a lot of concern from parents because we've heard a few different horror stories about ChatGPT.
Right.
And so that was part of my question of, do we have a list of sites that are not allowed on our network, or we will not be asking our students to use, or maybe even explicitly telling them not to use. I don't know how far that goes, but and then I appreciate that you brought up, how students are going to cite their work using AI as part of the ethical use and transparency. Just like you would cite any other sources, you need to cite whatever you were using. That goes to that. And then I also heard at a meeting I was at recently, Orchid Union at one of their school sites, they're having a student AI summit to help educate their students on AI kind of en masse. They have small schools as well, and so they're able to do it at like an assembly level, I believe is what they're going to do. But they're holding what they're calling an AI summit. So I'm excited to see what they do and hear about it, and maybe that's something we can look at for our students to help educate and inform them on appropriate use of AI.
Yeah.
Any further questions, comments? Okay. We have a first and a second on F1. All in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on to F2. Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 6141.2, Recognition of Religious Beliefs and Customs, first reading. The board is asked to approve the first reading of BPAR 6141.2, Recognition of Religious Beliefs and Customs. The governing board recognizes that students' education would be incomplete without an understanding of the role of religion in society. As appropriate for a particular course, teachers may objectively discuss the influences of various religions using religious works and symbols to illustrate their relationship with culture, literature, and the arts. The board expects that such instruction will identify principles common to all religions and foster respect for the diversity of religions and customs in the world, and be consistent with the adopted instructional materials and state standards as applicable. Any questions from the board? Question, or I guess clarification. So this particular board policy in AR we already have, and the one different, because there's not much different in this. I believe the difference is citing a recent Supreme Court decision allowing for opt-outs for families. Is that correct?
Yes, it's related to the July 2025 Supreme Court decision, Mahood versus Taylor. It's opt-out for parents opting out of instructional materials that are contrary to their significantly held religious beliefs.
Okay. And so this is just citing that case as one of the reasons why there could be an opt-out.
Yes.
Okay. And that form is available at school sites or district office?
It's on the district website.
It's on the district website, the form to opt out if that is what you choose. Okay. Thank you. May I get a motion to approve first reading BPAR 6141.2, Recognition of Religious Beliefs and Customs?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
F3, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 6142.1, Sexual Health and HIV/AIDS Prevention Instruction, first reading. We're being asked to approve this first reading of BPAR 6142.1, Sexual Health and HIV/AIDS Prevention Instruction. The governing board desires to provide a well-planned, integrated sequence of medically accurate and inclusive instruction in comprehensive sexual health and human immunodeficiency virus prevention. The district shall respect the rights of parents and guardians to supervise their students' education on these subjects and to impart values to their children regarding human sexuality. Any questions from the board? I will raise the same question to this, or clarification, that this is virtually the same policy as we previously had. The difference, again, is citing Mahmood v. Taylor affecting this policy.
Yes, but I would like to point out that Education Code has always required the opportunity for parents to opt out of any materials or lessons during sex education. And so we've always had the opt-out availability, opt-out option availability to parents, and that's also in our annual parent notification, that parents need simply to send an email to the teacher or the parent. And they are also notified. Let me start again. Our sex education courses are in 5th grade, 6th grade, and 9th grade. And the teachers notify parents in advance of what the topics will be and what the materials are and the publisher, and they're available for parents to review. And if parents decide that they prefer their students not to participate in the lessons, then they simply need to send an email to the teacher or the principal. And we honor the opt-out, and students engage in different alternative activities during those lessons. So that's always been in place. But the reason why this policy had to be updated is because of the reference to Mahood versus Taylor.
So there is, I mean, there's some changing of language, but nothing
Significant.
And you can opt out of specific lessons, or do you have to opt out of the entire class?
Lessons.
Okay, and that's always been the case?
It's always been the case for sex education.
For this, but now we're citing back
Yes.
to this per case law.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. F3, BPAR 6142.1, sexual health and AIDS, HIV prevention instruction. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
G, educational services. If you'd like to make public comment on G1 through 3, please step up to the podium at this time.
Alrighty, thank you. So union leadership is pleased that some grade levels will have access to state-adopted curriculum and textbooks in content areas where required by the Williams settlement. That said, elected employee leadership is compelled to note that the issue of textbooks for students is far from resolved for the 25-26 school year. Last spring, several teacher leaders requested the purchase of student textbooks for core content courses at the middle school, specifically science and history classes for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And after several years of the superintendent dictating that CUSD would be paperless by 2022, we've not only fallen short of that rather absurdly futuristic objective, but the system has actually reversed course, moving back to more traditional methods of teaching and learning: books, pens, pencils, and even paper. And it's been really wonderful to work with the kids with those mediums. Throughout the spring, after student laptops and iPads once provided by the district were removed, teacher leaders at CMS advocated for the purchase of student textbooks. They were told by Principal Pursoon that student textbooks were no longer needed because students were no longer required to do homework. When teacher leaders disagreed and pressed for student access to textbooks by the start of the 25-26 school year, they were told that textbooks would be available online. When teacher leaders reminded administration that online resources were no longer equally accessible to students, primarily because CUSD had taken back students' personal computers, or I should say students' laptop computers, and were no longer permitted to use those laptops or smartphones, or bring their smartphones and their personal computers to school. Ms. Pursoon declared that the matter was no longer up for discussion. As a result, students in several grade levels and content areas at CMS have begun the 25-26 school year without equal access to current textbooks. Not only does this scenario undermine the teaching and learning process, it is in direct conflict with the LCAP goals published in February, which were revised and slid through the consent agenda this evening. The failure to provide textbooks to students is a clear violation of the Williams settlement. It opens the districts up to legal suits by those savvy enough to navigate the system, demand their rights, and ensure their children have access to the most basic materials and resources needed, textbooks. These concerns were again shared with Principal Pursoon at the last CMS staff meeting on September 2nd. She shrugged, directed employees to post the notice pertaining to CUSD's compliance, and refused to entertain the topic and concerns that CUS faculty brought to her in any meaningful manner. It is the district's responsibility to ensure students have equal access to content-focused textbook materials at school and at home, just as the Williams settlement requires. Read it. It's right there in front of you. Teacher leaders and their elected representatives implore district administration to rethink the efficacy and legality of the current approach, where we remove personal computers from students and then fail to reinvest in the routine resources required for student learning. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see here. G1, public hearing on the availability of textbooks and instructional materials for the 2025-2026 school year. Each year, the Carpinteria Unified School District must hold a public hearing on the availability of textbooks and instructional materials for the current year. President Diamond will open the hearing, accept public comments, and then close the hearing. I am now opening the hearing.
Because I always feel pressed when, with the short 3-minute time limit, I'm going to review some of what I just said to make sure that you have an opportunity to hear it. Of course, you could review the board meeting video as well. Last spring, several teacher leaders requested the purchase of student textbooks for core content courses at the middle school, specifically science and history classes at the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade levels. After several years of Superintendent Rigby dictating that CUSD would be paperless by 220, we clearly are not. Throughout the spring, after student laptops and iPads that had once been provided by the district were removed, teacher leaders again advocated for the purchase of student textbooks. They were told by Principal Pursoon that student textbooks were no longer needed because students were no longer required to do homework, that it was inequitable for them to do homework. When teacher leaders disagreed and pressed for student access to textbooks by the start of the 25-26 school year, they were told textbooks were available online. And when teacher leaders reminded administration that online resources were no longer equally accessible for students, Ms. Pursoon declared the matter was no longer up for discussion. As a result, students in several grade levels and content areas at the middle school have begun the 25-26 school year without equal access to current textbooks. Not only does this scenario undermine the teaching and learning process, it is in direct contrast with the LCAP goals published in February by yourselves, which were then revised and slid through the consent agenda this evening. The failure to provide textbooks to students is a clear violation of the Williams settlement. It opens the district up to legal suits by those savvy enough to navigate the system, demand their rights, and ensure that children have access to the most basic materials and resources needed. Equal access, textbooks. These concerns were again shared with Principal Pursoon at the last staff meeting on September 2nd, and she shrugged and directed employees to post the notice pertaining to CUSD's compliance, refusing to entertain the topic in any meaningful way. I remind you, it is the district's responsibility to ensure students have equal access to content-focused textbook materials at school and at home, just as the Williams settlement requires. Teacher leaders and their elected representatives implore district administration to rethink the efficacy and the legality of the current approach, where we remove personal computers, refuse them cell phones, which certainly most of us support, and then fail to reinvest in the routine resources required for student learning, which we don't support. You're opening yourselves up to yet another ridiculous, expensive legal action. And your friends down in LA will make another fortune off of us, Ms. Rigby. Something needs to be done about this. We implore you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the hearing is closed. G2, Resolution 25-939, Resolution on Sufficiency of Textbooks or Instructional Materials. The board is asked to adopt Resolution 25-939, which states whether there are sufficient or insufficient textbooks and instructional materials available for every student in the district. This resolution is adopted annually. The resolution further determines, as required by Education Code Section 60119, which areas there are sufficient materials. May I get, are there any questions?
Well, I'm trying to understand the question here. So the question is, because we're not giving homework, we're not sending textbooks home with the students, and therefore that's the complaint, but there are sufficient textbooks at school?
At school, there are sufficient textbooks in every classroom. There are over 400 computers, and there are 400 students. So there is a computer for every student. The issue is not about the materials. The issue is about homework. And so there is discussion about what amount of homework should be assigned. And currently, the expectation is there's no homework that's assigned in a textbook. It has nothing to do with the textbook. It has to do with the fact that there is differences in opinion on homework.
Okay.
So it's a homework issue.
Every student has access to a textbook and a laptop at school while they are working on
their materials.
And
if there's an assignment that requires a textbook or a laptop, then they are available for that student.
Okay.
Homework, but the issue is about homework. It's not about the textbooks or the laptops.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and the textbooks that we have, some are physical, some are electronic?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm wondering, so hypothetical, student misses class for a few days, needs to be able to catch up. Are they able to bring a laptop and a textbook home?
Yes.
To catch up and study?
Yes.
Do they have access to that?
Yes.
If they are not able to be in class?
Yes.
And, okay. And so this specifically is for access at school?
Yes, and at home, if the assignments are related to, if the assignment is in the textbook or
The
you have to
textbook
use
goes
a
home.
laptop, then you need to provide that at home. But that's not what the assignments are.
Okay,
And that's where the conflict is.
okay.
It's a homework issue, not a materials issue.
Want to do a resolution?
Just to be fair, like, I'm just not super, like, I'm struggling with it a little bit. And not that that's going to be something that can be resolved right now. I'm on the fence, to be honest. But I also understand what the expectation of the teachers is, that there isn't homework being sent home that requires the textbook.
Or the computer.
Or the computer.
Correct.
So what type of homework is being sent home?
A lot of a practice. A practice of what you've already learned in the classroom.
When they're in the classroom, though, they're using the textbook and the laptop.
To learn the content, and then you're practicing at home. So specifically, it's reading and math problems.
Okay. 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 Do we have a motion for G2?
I would move to approve Resolution 25-939.
I will second.
Roll call?
Eric?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Jamie?
I'm aye.
Am I?
Okay. G3, agreement between Carpinteria Unified School District and Santa Barbara City College and Career Access Pathways, SBCC CAP 2526. The board is asked to approve the agreement between CUSD and Santa Barbara City College CCAP. CUSD has a strong partnership with Santa Barbara City College, and for over 20 years together have provided students with the opportunity to participate in dual enrollment. In 2016, Assembly Bill 288 was enacted to added to California Ed Code Section 76004, enabling the governing board of a community college district to enter a college and career access pathways CCAP partnership with the governing board of a school district. CCAP legislation seeks to expand the availability of early college credit. Locally, it enables CUSD to limit SBCC classes at the high school to high school students. envisions a more inclusive version of dual enrollment beyond enrichment, expands the maximum number of SBCC units per term a high school student can enroll in from 11 to 15, and encourages student completion of degree certificate pathways while enrolled in high school. The CCAP agreement also creates a course sequence for early college program at Carpinteria High School. This new CCAP agreement addresses matters pertaining to student access, course development, and articulation, instructors, data sharing, facilities, and pathway development. And I believe we have Principal Cornejo to speak to this.
Good evening. First of all, I want to tell you that this is one of the highlights of my career at Carpinteria High School, establishing a early college program. We've been waiting for the agreement to come to expire, the one we had, and this is an opportunity for us to reshape it to address the needs of our students and the reality of what our students are facing when they're going to college, which is expensive. This is a way for them to earn literally an AA degree before they graduate from Carpinteria High School. Currently, at Carpinteria High School, we have the following courses this year, which is personal development, which is a 3-unit course, and that is for all 9th graders. Calculus is a 5-unit course for our 12th grade students. Pre-calculus is a 6-unit course for our 11th grade students. Introduction to Chemistry, a 4-unit course, is for our 11th grade students. U.S. History, 2 U.S. History courses, one from U.S. History to 1877 and U.S. History since 1865. Each one of those is 3 units. And then we also have a agriculture class, soils and plant and nutrients, and a 3-unit course, and that's for 10th and 11th graders. All of our courses are taught by Carpinteria High School teachers. We only have one course, which is our calculus class, taught by a City College professor, and that is co-taught with one of our high school teachers. We currently have 287 students, some of them may be duplicates, enrolled in the courses this school year. And as our superintendent mentioned earlier, the CCAP agreement that you're being asked to present, that you're being asked to approve this night, is to create a specific set of courses for students to pursue at Carpinteria High School while they're there for 4 years. Besides offering dual enrollment courses, the students can take this CCAP agreement, and it creates a course sequence that is defined as a pathway, such as the culinary arts pathway, which leads to a certificate, which is part of our CT program, a general education pathway, and a general education transfer pathway. We currently have identified 25 courses in this agreement that our teachers can teach at Carpinteria High School. And we've also identified these 25 courses as part of our early college program, leading to a great program for our students to take at Carpinteria High School. A lot of these courses are being replaced. We replaced AP courses by offering these courses. We also have identified teachers that potentially could teach some of these courses, and we're working to attain grant money so that we can pay for them to take their meet their minimum qualifications and earn a master's degree in a specific field. So that's something that we're doing. The idea is for once you approve this MOU, if you do so tonight, we begin to work with Santa Rosa City College and create a mapping system of when our students would take these courses, who would teach these courses, when would they be offered, such as summer or in the school year. And you may note that we do have other CT programs that are not listed as part of the pathways with CCAP agreement from Santa Rosa City College, and that's because they do not offer a program in engineering, manufacturing, agriculture, or robotics. The great thing that the law was changed about 2 years ago, which allows us to find a local community college that has those. So we are going to begin the conversations with Ventura Community College for those pathways. So this is a great opportunity for our students, great opportunity for everybody that wants to go to college and also earn a significant amount of credits so that they can go and enroll at the community college or wherever they go as sophomores. The great thing about this, that all the courses that we have selected are all transferable to the Cal State or the UC system. The great thing about dual enrollment classes is that the students does not have to pay for an AP test, and hope that the college will take the credit. This is a guaranteed placement in college. So I know some of your students may have taken these courses at Carpinteria High School, and we constantly get emails from students saying they took my chemistry class, they took my calculus class. Before it was, I got a 4 in AP calculus, but the college didn't take it. This is a way for them to do that. So.
Great.
Just publicly, I wanted to thank Gerardo for his leadership and his perseverance. Gerardo and I have been talking about this for many, many years to establish an early college opportunity at CHS, and without Gerardo's leadership and developing partnerships and securing grants, it would never have happened. So again, Gerardo, I really thank you. This is something that is going to be really important for our student body. It's going to transform students' lives, and I really appreciate your leadership on this project. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I also want to mention that the idea is to have our teachers teach the course during the daytime. And that is the reason we're working with local foundations for them to pay for the teachers to earn their master's degree so that they can stay in Carpinteria and also teach dual enrollment classes. A lot of the teachers, specifically in high demand courses, once they are approved by City College, they can actually teach at City College because they've been approved to teach those courses. So.
It's amazing. Well, I know this is something that you've been working on for a long time and a vision you've had for quite some time. I remember hearing you talk about it years ago and what you saw like possible, and the opportunity that came out this last summer where we can now use other community colleges outside of our immediate area really helps open those doors for far more of our students who wouldn't be able to go through the pathway at City College, although they have amazing set of pathways and opportunities. Yep. So, but I'm excited for our students, but I really am excited for what this does mean for our teachers and their advancement, and investment in them and advancement for them professionally. So it's really a win-win. I think in that sense.
And again, you do have a list of courses that we've identified. All those courses can be taught by Carpinteria High School teachers.
Amazing. Any questions or comments?
I think it's great. It's huge.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gerardo. I just echoing what Diana said about this not being able to be done without your vision, number one, but your leadership and your determination, because I know you've been talking about this for a long time.
Yes.
And just to see the growth in the dual enrollment program in the last 4 or 5 years is great, and to see those students entering college as essentially as sophomores now, and then hope it looks like they'll be able to enter as juniors essentially with a degree. That's tremendous, and it's going to just increase the level of confidence they have and the ability, for those that are first generation collegians, it's going to enhance that confidence that they can do that and encourage them to continue their education. So I think it's just a testament to you but our system in general.
And I really want to also acknowledge the teachers that have stepped up. I mean, I have a teacher, Mr. Gomez, who went back to school so that he can get a master's degree in chemistry, just so that he can teach this class, because he also didn't want to teach AP chemistry because there's no guarantee that the colleges are going to take it. The other thing I want to mention is the fact that the number of students that are taking AP has not dropped. Actually has increased, because normally we would have 1 or 2 sections of AP Lit or AP language composition. We now have 4, and 3 courses. But also the students that would normally have not taken a dual enrollment class, such as the fact prior to dual enrollment we had AP Stats and AP Calc, you either had to take one or the other. So we would have 15 and 15. Now, all 30 of them can take. So we have 47 students, I believe, in calculus. Those are students that would normally have not been there. We have combine almost 80 students in our U.S. history class. They would not have taken AP classes. AP is scary. And one of the things that we've done, especially like, for example, pre-calculus, which is the class for juniors, it's a semester-long course, but we only enroll those students in the dual enrollment second semester, and Mr. Smith front loads the material first semester, so that when they enroll in the dual enrollment class second semester, they've already been exposed to it, and Mr. Smith is working together with the City College professor in supporting the students, reteaching, covering the lessons, and that's a win-win opportunity for our students. So again, I really want to acknowledge the teachers that have stepped up, because they have to do extra work sometimes, and City College does compensate for their time for doing this, but it is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I think it shows the enrollment in those courses, the numbers in those classes is significant. And I recall over graduation season this last June, seeing videos of students walking across the stage getting handed 2, 3, 4 essentially diploma holders because of what they had been able to do at their schools that already had programs like this
That
set
will be
up.
us in the future.
Very exciting,
So,
very exciting.
That's the plan.
Thank you.
And the agreement ends June 30th, 2030.
2030, got it.
2030. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are being asked to approve this agreement. May I get a motion?
I will move to wholeheartedly approve this agreement between City College and CCAP.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
H, if you'd like to make public comment on H, please step up to the podium at this time.
Thank you, Rogelio Delgado. I notice a legal fee for $21,495. The sex abuse case of the 70s. I have a question, actually different questions on this. Yes, escrow was closed on the Baylor property January. Is it final? You got the money? Is it on the general fund? The reason I'm asking is that next month, October 8th, 9th, 10th, there's a rezone hearing on Redondo Beach on Baylor. Coastal Commission. This is what the city said. The Coastal Commission is the last step, the final saying on Baylor. And they're asking people, because they have new personnel at the Coastal Commission, and they're asking people to send their concerns, to sign up for comments on this hearing. So, is it just a protocol? Or, well, I mean, that's, if you could clarify that, because that, I think it was a done deal. Maybe it is. I don't know, but why haven't this?
So, if I
Excuse
may,
me. Yes,
that
go
is
ahead,
not, the sale of the Baylord property is not on the agenda tonight.
Oh, well, I'm bringing this up.
Well, I'm just
No,
clarifying.
correct, okay.
It is not, so we're not speaking to that, because
okay.
that's not in the scope of
Yeah,
tonight's
okay.
agenda.
because once I read this bill for 21,000, I had a question whether it's it for the settlement or it's it for the man who didn't settle. So that's the question that I have.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Thank you.
On H.
Okay, so first, union leadership wants to thank those community members who provide grants and gifts to the CUSD without any unethical or unprofessional strings attached. There are many, and they are truly needed and appreciated. Regarding the district's warrants, this report confirms that the district has now paid over $750,000 since January to the single law firm, Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost LLP. This $750,000 is just a portion of the $3.5 million and growing in legal fees paid to the same firm, which has facilitated CUSD's unlawful attacks against elected employee union representatives, as well as efforts to undermine the collective bargaining process and the union's right to meet and recruit employee members to the union. On many occasions, the community and yourselves, board members, have been advised that 3F LLP is the firm that Superintendent Rigby brought with her to CUSD when she made a deal with Mr. Schaefer, among others, to have the union and its leadership removed from the district in 3 years. Well, Ms. Rigby, you are now in your 7th year with the CUSD, and you have been as successful with that as your performance metrics in other areas. Oh, 9th year. Ouch. It hurts. It flies, doesn't it? As the board considers the warrants and the related expenditures, employee leadership wonders if Ms. Rigby or her legal counsel shared any details about upcoming legal actions with 3F LLP. Or are these bills associated with those? Associated with further defending the unlawful attacks that have already been determined by the courts, including multiple unfair labor practices related to continued retaliation and discrimination. Given the pending cost, once again, of defending the behaviors that have already been determined unlawful with 3F LLP, right? The district's behaviors, but the firm defended you. We hope that you have been made aware that hearing dates are set and you must still answer charges that sit before you in the State Public Employee Relations Board courts. Only this time, the previous decision clarifying CUSD's unlawful behavior will be where these hearings begin versus where they end. Have you been advised of that yet? Perhaps you can save the district another $1 million by simply owning the accountability that you deserve, Ms. Rigby, and some of you supported, by admitting the retaliation and discrimination you engaged in up front, painful as it must be for district officials. The benefit to the district's reserves and the ability to direct tax dollars towards student learning is obvious. Or will you again throw critical resources at defending the indefensible, filling the bank account of Ms. Rigby's favorite law firm and dragging on the accountability that the district very much deserves?
Thank you.
Thank you.
H1, warrants. The board is asked to approve the warrants for the period of 8/8/25 through 9/4/25 in the amount of $1,130,878.84. Warrants are issued once a week on Thursdays. The report format shows check number, check date, payee, brief account description, payment comment, and check amount. Questions from the board on the warrants? May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. H2, gifts, grants, donations. I'm going to go read through them all, and then we will approve them as a whole. 2A, a donation from the Lake family to CUSD Summerland Elementary School. We're being asked to accept this donation from the Lake family of a Smart Air Blast mini purifier valued at $710 and replacement air filters to be provided annually beginning in 26-27, valued at $150 each, to the K1 classroom at Summerland Elementary. This gift is intended to support a healthy and comfortable learning environment for both students and staff. 2B, donation from Michaela Fringe to Carpinteria High School.
Fringer.
Sorry, apologies. Michaela Fringer to Carpinteria High School, Future Farmers of America. The board is asked to accept this donation from Michaela Fringer of $600 in memory of Art Fringer to CHS FFA Club account. 2C, donation from Rotary Club of Carpinteria to Carpinteria Unified School District music programs. We're being asked to accept this of several musical instruments valued at approximately $4,401.71 to support CUSD music program at CMS and elementary schools. 2D, donation from Karen and David Wheeler to CUSD music program. The board is asked to accept the donation from Karen and David Wheeler of several music instruments valued at $910 to the Carpinteria Unified School District music program at Carpinteria Middle School. 2E, donation from Carpinteria Beautiful to Carpinteria Middle School. This is a donation of a beautiful, of a new large rug valued at $350.95 for the entrance of the middle school. CUSD CMS greatly appreciates the ongoing volunteer efforts by Carpinteria Beautiful, whose support with landscaping and other projects continues to enrich the campus environment and culture at CMS. And F, we have a donation from Carpinteria Education Foundation to Carpinteria Unified School District for SEME field trips. We're being asked to accept this donation from CEF of $30,000 to cover a portion of the Catalina Island Marine Institute school field trips. Any questions on 2A through F? No questions?
No questions.
May I get a motion to approve 2A through F?
I'll move to approve A through F with gratitude.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
And discussion.
Just, as always, thankful to all the generous families and organizations in Carpinteria.
Absolutely. Really appreciate the generosity of our community. It's especially special whether I know the person or the reasons or not when you see a donation made in honor or memory of someone else who this club or sport or activity was meaningful. And so thanks to those that continue to support in that way. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 2024-25 unaudited actuals. The board is required to review and accept annually the 24-25 unaudited actuals. The 24-25 unaudited actuals are due to the Santa Barbara County Office of Education by September 15th. The report reflects the actual revenue and expenditures from July 1 through June 30th. Jason Caff, Assistant Superintendent Business Services, will provide a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to give this presentation. Tonight, we will be reviewing the 24-25 unaudited actuals. Just briefly, I'd like to go over how the general fund is composed. So the general fund is the biggest fund we have, and it has the most activity. However, inside the general fund, there are two different components. There's the unrestricted side of the general fund, and that is where our reserve is housed. And there's also another part called the restricted side of the general fund. On the restricted side is where we house all of our restricted resources, such as Title I, Title II, Title III, Prop 28 funds. Those are all restricted funds, and those are all tracked on the restricted side of the general fund. And the reason I bring that up is because for the first few slides here, we're just going to be reviewing the unrestricted side of the general fund. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. So on this first slide here, it's entitled Change in Unrestricted General Fund Revenue. You'll notice that in column A, that's entitled Estimated Actuals. Now, really what the estimated actuals are, that's what the board saw in early June of 2025. So that's, once again, these are projections as to where we're going to end the year at June 30th, 2025. So this entire column of estimated actuals are projections. The next column right next to it, entitled Unaudited Actuals, that's where we actually ended up at June 30th, 2025, after the year-end close. So the first column is what our projections were for revenues, and the second column is where we actually ended up. So for example, if we look down in the first item there for revenues, we have state aid / property taxes. At estimated actuals, we were projecting that we'd have revenue of approximately $33,119,622. However, at June 30th, after we closed the books, we actually had revenue of $32,920,018. So our projections were slightly different, which we call a variance. And for this variance, we're seeing the variance of $199,000. So what this means is that in this column, we received $199,000 less than what we were projecting at estimated actuals. Now, if we're looking at $33 million, a variance of almost $200,000, I'm rounding here, really isn't really that significant considering the big picture. So I just wanted to touch on that. So after state aid is federal revenue, you'll notice that at unaudited actuals, we received $165 for forest reserve revenue. So once again, that's $165. That's not a huge number. For other state revenues, the variance there between what we were projecting at estimated actuals and where we actually ended up was about $26,000. So once again, that's not a big number either. And the last revenue category right below that, entitled local revenues, is we were estimating approximately $547,000 at estimated actuals. At 6/30, after year-end close, we received $712,000. So the variance there was approximately $164,000. Now, when you net all of those different revenue streams up, the total net revenue difference is about $7,800. So what this means is that from estimated actuals to unaudited actuals, we actually received about $7,800 less than what we were projecting at estimated actuals. Now, in the box below it, what we have here is basically a kind of more refined version of what those variances are made up of. So, for example, the first one we're looking at, LCFF / property tax revenue decrease of $199,000. That's largely attributable to the Education Protection Account, what we call EPA. And so in there, at estimated actuals, we thought we were going to receive an additional $92,000, but it turns out we received that $92,000 in 23-24, so we're not going to get it again, and so that's the reason that we're seeing a reduction there. And for property taxes, you'll notice that we didn't receive about $107,000 that we thought we were going to receive. And once again, I think that was shared with the board. There was a slight difference between our P1 property taxes and P3. We received slightly less than we thought we were going to receive, and that's being reflected here as well. So when you add those two numbers up, that's the $199,000 reduction in LCFF / property tax revenue that we see on the first line. Forest revenue increase. Once again, it's a relatively small amount, which we typically get after the year-end close. So once again, that's $165. For the state aid increase, that's largely due to kind of true-ups that happen at year-end. So the first kind of true-up is the final lottery payment of $9,400. And once again, I'm kind of rounding here. Home-to-school transportation apportionment. We booked another $18,000 that we weren't expecting, and a small decrease to our mandate block grant of $919,000. And once again, once you net all of those three, that brings us to that $26,950 number that we see to the right. And the last line, entitled local revenue increase, is largely due to kind of miscellaneous things, such as stale dated checks, reimbursements, some interest payments, some minor revenue payments, excess STRS, a grant, and our annual GASB 31 fair market value adjustment. And so when we add those two local revenue numbers together, that's how we come up with the $164,000. So once again, once we net all of those differences out, we're slightly off by basically $7,800, which considering our budget as a whole is relatively a small number. So with that, I'll go ahead and switch to the next slide. Now, this slide here is entitled Change in Unrestricted General Fund Expenditures, because once again, all we're focusing on here is the unrestricted side of the general fund. Once again, the first column we see there is entitled Estimated Actuals, and all of the numbers that we see in this column here are projections. So when these numbers were done, basically late May, early June, these were all projections of where our expenses would be come June 30th, 2025. As I mentioned before, nobody has a crystal ball, so we don't know exactly what our numbers will be, but we have to use the best information available to make those projections, and those are represented here in this column entitled Estimated Actuals. And once again, unaudited actuals is basically where we ended up at June 30th, 2025. So, for example, we'll just go over the first one, which is entitled Certificated Salaries. At estimated actuals, we were projecting our expenses in that expense category would come in at approximately $10.3 million. However, at June 30th, after year-end close, our expenses came in at approximately $10.2 million. So we have a variance there of approximately $82,000. And so I'll just go through one or two of these. The one right below it is entitled Classified Salaries. At estimated actuals, we were projecting that our expenses in that category would be approximately $4.2 million. But at June 30th, our expenses came in at actually $4.1 million. So there was a variance there of about $128,000. So in that column entitled variance is the difference between what our projections were and what our actual numbers were at June 30th. Now, once again, I do want to highlight that, we have variances. We had a variance last year. I would imagine that all public school districts have variances, once again, because we are all required to project revenues and expenditures. And of course, nobody has a crystal ball, so nobody knows exactly what those numbers are going to be. So we are always going to see variances. That is just a function of school finance and the way that we have to do it. So if we total up all the different variances, you'll see on the right-hand side there, the total expenses were about $701,000 less than we were projecting at estimated actuals.
Jason, I think it would be important at this point to add that that since last January, we were concerned about the budget, so that's why we reduced all our expenditures. That's why our variance is larger than typical.
Yes, and yes. So that is one factor. And I think an additional factor is we know that there's a board policy that tries to require a 10% reserve. And so we're trying to get the board, and the district as a whole to get up to that 10%. Because where we're at now is a little bit better than where we were last year at this point, but we're still by no means near where we should be, in my opinion. And I'll kind of touch on that in a slide or two. So once again, if we're looking at the box right below those two charts, we have the changes in expenditures. So the first line entitled Final Salary and Benefit Expenditures, that $380,000 is a total of the certificated salaries variance of $82,000, the classified salary variance of $128,000, and the benefits variance of $170,000. I would like to highlight that the benefits variance includes both certificated and classified positions, so that's why that number is bigger than the other two, is because that category picks up both pockets, both certificated and classified. So that's how we get to the $380,000 number you have there. Right below that, we have final materials and supplies expenditures of $120,000. So basically, what that means is that we spent we didn't spend $120,000 that we had budgeted at estimated actuals. Right below that, we have final services, contracts, utilities, capital outlay, and that one's $97,000. And you'll see below that, I have it even broken down into further detail as to how that number is derived. So first of all, we had a decrease in travel, conference, and communication and miscellaneous expenses of about $10,000. We had a decrease in rents, leases, and repairs of about $22,000. We had an increase in legal fees of about $52,000. We had a decrease in contracts and services of about $44,000. A decrease in insurance and utilities and leases of about $73,000. And so, once again, if we total all those together, that gets us to that $97,000 variance that we're seeing in that one expense category. Right beneath that, we have the increase in capital outlay and debt expenditures, and that's $333, not a big number. And the last item there is that we have increased indirect to categoricals and cafeteria of approximately $102,000. And so once again, once we add up all of those numbers, all that adds up to the $701,000 variance that we've noted up above. So with that, I'll switch to the next slide here. So once again, we are still looking at the unrestricted side of the general fund. And just on this slide here, all where it says other uses, all that we're basically focusing on is the contribution. Now, there are a couple different programs and departments in the general fund that do not receive any funding or not enough funding to be self-supporting. So what has to happen is that the unrestricted side of the general fund has to basically give money to the restricted side to run those programs. And so that's what we're looking at here. So in the estimated actual column, we have other uses, which basically is a contribution. We were projecting that our contribution would be about $7.8 million at estimated actuals. For unaudited actuals, where we really ended up at June 30th, 2025, our contribution actually came in at about $7.3 million. So the variance there is that $511,000 number that you're seeing off to the right. And so broken down in further detail regarding what's inside that $511,000 is in the box at the bottom. So the first item is that there was a decrease in the RRMA, and basically that's for restricted routine maintenance account. So there was a decrease in the maintenance contribution of about $102,000. And there also was a decrease in the amount that we had to contribute to special education and a couple other smaller categoricals. And so when we add the 102 and the 409 together, that's how we get to the $511,000 reduction in the contribution to the restricted side. I'll flip to the next slide. So this slide here is entitled Total Unrestricted General Fund, and basically it's the previous three slides we just looked at it, but it's all together so we can see the entire unrestricted side of the general fund on one slide. In just focusing in the column entitled Unaudited Actuals, you'll notice that the total revenues were $34.2 million. If we scroll down to the total expenses, that came in at about $26.3 million. And then below that, you'll see other uses, which we just talked about on the previous slide. That's $7.3 million. So we saw an increase to the unrestricted side of the general fund balance of about $500,000. And then right below that, you'll see the adjusted beginning balance of $1.6 million. So that is that's the balance that we ended up with at for 23-24. That's where we ended up. And so at 23-24, I think this $1.6 million came in at about 3.59% reserve. So what happens is that $1.6 million becomes our new beginning balance for 24-25. So we start with $1.6 million. We had an increase of about $500,000. So we add those two together, and that brings our ending fund balance to that number you see right below it of approximately $2.1 million. So that's what our unrestricted ending fund balance is at 6/30/25. But I also want to point out that inside that $2.1 million is the district's 3% required reserve. So inside that $2.1 million, you'll notice down below that of that $2.1 million, approximately $1.2 million of that is our required 3% reserve. And once again, I know I've mentioned this several times before, but for districts our size, we are required to have a 3% reserve. That is the number one thing that the county office judges us by, and also the state judges us by for fiscal stability. Now,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
We're required to have a 3% reserve, or a 3% reserve is the minimum we are required to have?
Yes. So required to have a minimum of 3%.
Because there's a difference.
Yes. If we drop below 3, then theoretically we become qualified, and there's a whole different set of rules we have to follow. There's increased county involvement, and so that's why we're trying as hard as we can to keep us above 3%. So yes, thank you very much for that point. So our 3% reserve is about 1.2 million, and you'll notice below that there's a figure that's designated unappropriated fund balance, which is $868,000. That's the amount of money that we have above our 3% reserve. So now, even though we've made some headway and our reserve has slightly increased, I want to point out that the average school district has a reserve of 24%. So in a slide or two, we'll see the ours ends up at about 5.1. So even though we've increased our reserve to about 5.1%, we are still well behind where the average school district is, because the average school district has a reserve of
Average basic aid school district.
yeah, has a reserve of approximately 24%. So with that, I'll flip to the next slide. And this is where we can take a look at the general fund as a whole. On the first column there, you'll notice that's the unrestricted side of which you talked about. Right next to that is the restricted side, and the column to the far right is the total general fund. So that's both columns combined. So as I kind of just went over in the previous slide, for our total revenues for the unrestricted side came in at about 34 million. We had revenues of expenditures of about 26.3 million. We have our contribution of about 7.3, and then we have increase in the fund balance of about 500,000. So we started with a beginning fund balance of about 1.6, and so for 6/30/25, we're ending our year coming in at about 2.1 million. And once again, below there, you'll see how that 2.1 million is composed. 1.2 of that is for the 3% reserve, and the $868,000 above that is for the amount above the 3% reserve. That takes us to 2.1 million. In the column right next to that is the restricted side. And so once again, this is where we house all of our restricted resources and restricted expenditures. So for 24-25, our total revenues came in at about 7.5 million. Below that, we'll see that our total expenditures came in at about 14.6 million. And so this is where we're seeing the disparity between a couple programs that have expenditures but either don't receive any funding or don't receive enough to support it. So once again, for the restricted side, we have revenues of 7.5 million, but we have expenditures of 14.6 million. So the way that difference is made up is right below that, the $7.3 million. So once again, what that represents is there's $7.3 million coming out of the unrestricted side of the general fund that is being moved over to the restricted side of the general fund to cover those programs that either don't receive funding or don't receive enough funding to be self-supporting.
And that's predominantly special education.
Yes. With that, if we go further down, we'll notice that there was a slight increase on the restricted side of about $223,000. And for the restricted side, we started the year with a balance of about 2.6 million. We add the 223 to it, and our ending fund balance on the restricted side for 24-25 is approximately that $2.8 million figure that you're seeing there. And then in total, for the general fund, which is identified in the far right-hand column, our total revenues for the entire general fund came in at about 41.8 million. Our expenditures came in at about 41 million. So the excess of revenues over expenditures was about $724,000. But once again, I want to reiterate that 724 figure represents both the increase from the unrestricted and the restricted added together. And so we have our beginning fund balance of about $4.2 million and our ending fund balance of about 4.9. So for the entire general fund for the 24-25 year, our ending fund balance came in at about $4.9 million. And so if you go further down, you'll notice that that $4.9 million is broken out into the different components. So in that 4.9 million is 2.8 million, which is the ending fund balance from the restricted side. Also, right below that is the 1.2 million, which is our 3% reserve. And below that is $868,000, which is the unappropriated balance, which once again is the difference from 1.2 million, our 3% reserve, to our unrestricted ending fund balance. Now, for 24-25, we ended the year with a 5.1% reserve, which is slightly better than last year. But once again, I do want to reiterate that $868,000 is like a very thin margin of error from our required 3% reserve to where we are currently at, because that is not much margin of error for anything significant to happen. Once again, the average basic aid school district has a reserve of approximately 24%. So if we were the average basic aid school district, instead of having a reserve ending fund balance of about 2.1 million, we'd be looking at a reserve of approximately between $9 and $10 million. So that's the difference between where we're currently at and where the average the average basic aid district is at. And so I just want to highlight that because while we have made some headway, we still, in my opinion, have a really small margin of error between where we're currently at and where our 3% bare minimum reserve is. So with that, I will flip to the next slide here, which is entitled Unrestricted Fund Unaudited Actuals. And on this slide here, we have a history, I think it's the past 6 years, of the unrestricted general fund's ending fund balance. Now, I won't go over every year, but just to highlight, for 23-24, you'll notice that we ended that year with an ending fund balance of about 1.6 million. And this year, we're ending at about 2.1 million, so we have increased slightly, but once again, we're still, in my opinion, well below where the average basic aid school district is at. And for the next slide here, which I think is the last slide, it's entitled Financial History of Special Education. And once again here, we have a history of the revenues and expenditures of special education for the past 5 years. And just to look at the far right-hand side, which is where we ended up for 24-25. So just for special education, we received approximately $2.5 million. But our expenses for special education came in at approximately $8.1 million. So you notice that's a huge disparity between the revenues that we received to run a program and the expenditures associated with that program. So what we have to do, and what the unrestricted side of the general fund has to do, is it has to do a contribution from the unrestricted side to the restricted side of the general fund to fund special education. And for 24-25, the unrestricted side of the general fund had to make a contribution of approximately $5.8 million to continue running special education. Once again, because it does not receive sufficient funding to run special education, period. So I think that concludes my presentation here, and I'd like to open it up to the board to see if there are any questions.
I just had one. With all the discussion in the news about defunding the Department of Education, have we seen any of that? It doesn't look like it from these numbers. Have we seen any slowdown in payments or reduction in federal revenue?
For a brief time there was talk of not giving out some allocations specifically to some title programs, because those are federal programs. That lasted a couple months, and then basically there was a retraction that said, well, we're going to fund all the previous title programs, so we can just pretend like, nothing happened. So to answer your question, basically there's been no impact to our federal programs with regards to that.
So just because I harp on this frequently, our percentage of federal revenues for special education is only about 12% of what our costs are. I just want to, that 921, 596 is under restricted federal revenues on page 6, sorry. Page 6, under restricted federal revenues, 921, 596. And our total revenues, well, that's not even our expenditures, but our revenues, it's 12% of our revenues, but it's 6% of our expenditures, and we're supposed to be getting 40% from the federal government, which we know is never going to happen, especially not now. But I just put that on the record every chance I get, because whenever I have the opportunity to get some type of statement before any type of legislator, I always bring that up, because it's incredibly important that they understand how underfunded special education is and the impact that has on the rest of, not those funds need to get used there, but the impact that has by removing those funds from the rest of the general fund. So I'm just, 6% is about what we're at.
Yes. 6%, and once again, for 24-25, the unrestricted side of the general fund had to contribute $5.8 million to continue running special education.
Yep.
Because we did not receive sufficient funding to do so.
Thanks. Okay, any questions or comments for Jason? Thank you. I appreciate you walking us through that and really breaking it down, where things differed and the why. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Resolution. Oh, sorry. We have to. Yep. There's action. Okay. So the board is required to review and accept the 24-25 unaudited actuals. May I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4. Resolution 25-940, adopting the 2025 GAN limit. The board is asked to approve the resolution 25-940, the 2025 GAN limit. The calculation determines the limit on spending required by the state constitution. The district's 24-25 GAN limit is adjusted by an inflations factor and the percentage increase-decrease in ADA in order to arrive at the 24-25 GAN limit. A second calculation determines the revenue subject to the limit. Only state aid and property tax does not exceed the limit. A preliminary calculation is also done for 25-26. The attached resolution allows the board to adopt the GAN limit for 24-25 and 25-26. Questions from the board? Okay. May I get a motion to approve resolution 25-940, adopting the GAN limit?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Okay. This is a roll call.
Eric.
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
Jamie.
Aye.
I'm aye.
Okay. Prop 28 annual report. The board is asked to approve the 24-25 Prop 28 annual report. Prop 28 provides annual funding for arts and music programs. This funding is ongoing, and school districts have 3 years to spend each annual allocation. The Prop 28 funding is meant to supplement existing arts and music education. Funding cannot be used to replace existing arts and music expenditures. Essentially, this funding is meant to increase arts and music spending beyond what the districts were previously spending. Every year, a Prop 28 annual report must be submitted to the California Department of Education and reported to the board. There are no fiscal implications here. Any questions from the board? No? Okay. May I get a motion to approve the Prop 28 annual report?
I'll move to approve Prop 28.
I'll second.
And discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Measure U, if you would like to make comment on I, Measure U, specifically I-1, please step up to the podium at this time. Okay, not seeing comment. I-1, notice of completion for Aliso and Canalino Elementary School portable removal. The board is asked to approve the completed contract for Aliso and Canalino Elementary School portable removal. On June 10, 2025, the board approved the guaranteed maximum price, GMP, with McGillivray Construction in the amount of $322,379 pursuant to Civil Code Section 9204. A notice of completion must be filed within 15 days after the completion of the work or improvement. The project has been inspected and the district is satisfied that all work has been completed per the contract documents. To ensure the district has received all preliminary 20-day and stop payment notices per Civil Code Sections 9300 to 9306, retention will be held for no more than 30 days. In accordance with Public Contract Code Section 7107, retention will be released within 60 days pursuant to Civil Code. Questions from the board? No. Okay. May I get a motion to approve the completed contract?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. J, personnel, if you would like to comment on J1, please step up to the podium at this time.
Okay, so while job openings still exist, the entire month worth of personnel data in the report confirms that we have not hired a single new employee in the last month. But at the outset of the school year, we have received 1 retirement and at least 10 resignations. Of those resignations, 7 were employed in the special education program. We hope district officials will make every effort to accurately understand the reasons we continue to lose talent from the district. We have been advised that the timing of these late resignation notices may be associated with significant changes in how CUSD honors its healthcare commitment to employees. A stellar example of yet another self-inflicted administrative wound. Exacerbating the district's inability to both hire and maintain highly qualified workforce, a highly qualified workforce. The district has begun canceling the healthcare policies of resigning employees, even though they have already earned the full value of that healthcare premium when they completed their annual 24-25 instructional contract. CUSD has done this several months before it was required, and several months before the annual premium cycle was set to terminate at the end of September 2025. While the district's change in practice strips healthcare access from those who already earned the full value of their plans, the district did not provide prior notice either, nor did they notify resigning employees that the timelines for securing COBRA-related coverage could time out on them. Those who resigned at the outset of the summer, who had earned and were eligible to receive health care through September 2025, learned of this policy shift when they began receiving bills from medical providers notifying them that their medical debts were not covered by their previous health care plans. In summary, employees who shared their decision to resign before they were required in an attempt to give the district time to prepare for the impact of their resignations were then utterly scorched by the district. So it should be no surprise that those now considering resignation may be more carefully considering the timing of those resignation notifications going forward, even if that means resigning at the last possible second. Setting aside the significant ethical issues related to the district's new practice, the practice itself, again, serves as yet another self-inflicted wound, which directly impacts the students in the teaching and learning environment because the district is unable to plan for the resignations. Whose idea was this, Ms. Rigby? Who cooked this one up? What kind of short-sighted, myopic thinking lies behind it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rogelio Delgado, Carpinteria resident. I have stated several times, 3, 4, since last year, that even for one time, I would like to see an agenda without any resignations. And that's why you will never catch up hiring teachers, because more teachers are leaving than the ones that you're hiring. For whatever reason that they have to leave, you should try to retain them. Because they're leaving for something better. A couple of weeks ago or so, I met an excellent special education teacher. How could I have invited her to come to Carp? No way. When for almost 1 year and 11 months, you delayed the salary increase, that's not right. That's not right. Should even be illegal. So you gotta do something to improve, to balance that teachers that you're hiring and the teachers that are leaving for whatever reason. Otherwise, the ratio is always going to be unbalanced, and that's not right, and that's not fair for students. Thank you.
Okay. The board is asked to approve the following recommended personnel items: 1 retirement, 10 resignations, 34 co-curricular assignments, and 14 coaching assignments. Any questions from the board? May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, future agenda items, public comment?
Alrighty, so future agenda items, please place on the next board agenda an exploration of the district's continued practice of combining CUSD's administrative salary costs with the cost of district support staff who work directly with students. Once again, in the consent agenda, the district conflates the salary costs associated with, say, Superintendent Rigby or Mr. Caff with the salary costs of our custodians and transportation workers and food service workers. While the district is more than comfortable pairing out the costs for district faculty, it hides our extraordinary administrative costs by mashing them together with the support staff who work directly with kids, titling the category classified. An examination of this practice is long overdue. We've asked before and we ask again, why hasn't a single board official demanded CUSD's administrative salary costs be transparently broken out and shared in the consent agenda instead of hidden under the category classified? In fact, it would be just as easy, because you have to have that number to then conflate it with the others. But it makes it more difficult for the public to recognize the painful fact that the current total costs associated with district support staff, when compared to either CUSD's administrative salary costs or legal bills, have never been so comparatively low. Lower than those costs. Lower than admin costs. Lower than legal fees. The very people that work with the kids. Please also place on the next board agenda a thorough examination of the dramatically declining enrollment numbers for CUSD. This evening, the superintendent's report officially acknowledged that we'd lost another 103 students in just the last year. Aliso, Catalino, and Family School The schools most impacted by the gross programmatic and resource inequities created by the implementation of the DLI program have lost a total of 104 students in just the last year. We have picked up a few students, so that has made the number down to 103 for the total loss. You heard the superintendent's most positive spin. So, saying, oh, well, you know what, 30 of those kids were intentionally removed from the district. Does that mean we should celebrate that the actual decline before removing students was only 70? Your spin did nothing, Ms. Rigby, to address the district's failure to maintain a robust educational environment and stem the declining achievement data or reverse the race to the bottom that is driving families from the district at a time when there are more children in Carpinteria than the city has ever known. Meanwhile, district, look at the map. Look at the information coming out of the city. It's there. It's right there for you. Meanwhile, district officials and Superintendent Rigby refuse to conduct any serious research into why so many families in the community that pay their taxes towards the district don't consider CUSD a viable option. Thank you.
Okay, future agenda items. We have the Measure U project and budget update that we moved from today to a future. Oh, no, that's, the Measure U, or is that separate? Separate. Oh, that's separate, okay. So, Measure U project budget update, 25-26 superintendent goals, 25-26 single school plans, 25-26 staffing report, and we are adding that's because it's the Bond Oversight Committee report. So Bond Oversight Committee report we're adding on to there. Okay. And then let's see here. Does anybody have anything to add to future agendas? Okay. Board calendar, is there anything we need to be aware of? Anything we're supposed to go to? No? Okay. Board announcements.
I'd like to mention that the Carpinteria mountain bike team is off to a rolling start. Coach Anya Simonovich, is doing an excellent job of getting the kids on bikes. They're meeting twice a week. It's a huge effort on her part, and she's done great work leading that charge, and our first race is at the end of the month, so we'll see how that goes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
She's a teacher at Summerland.
She's the teacher at Summerland, 4-5 teacher. Yep.
That's awesome. That's really exciting. Anybody else? No? Okay, so I'll just point out I attended a few different meetings. The e-conveyance meeting, it's a partnership with the city to go over the issue of e-bikes and student safety, as well, bikes in general, but e-bikes especially, and student safety. Some may have noticed by Canalino on Linden Avenue, there was electric signage that I believe the sheriff's office and the city helped put up. And I believe there was another one by the middle school, reminding people to slow down for students, and also you need to be wearing your helmet. There was a series of op-eds that were in Coastal View about bike safety from different community members, including myself. And there has been a lot of different initiatives that Coast, I believe, is that the Move, all the different acronyms. Move Santa Barbara has really been helping and being a great partner, and they'll be doing the helmets at the school sites at some point during the year. And so I believe we're meeting again, I think this month, I'm not sure, or it may have just happened and I missed it, but I think it's coming up, just to kind of recap and get an idea of compliance, because there is it's law that all anybody under the age of 18 has to wear a helmet. And so there is going to be an effort later in the year from the sheriff of actually enforcing that. And so a lot of this kind of programming dialogue is to get that message out to students and to parents that your kids have to be wearing a helmet, and it has to be buckled at a bare minimum. Also, under a certain age, there's certain e-bikes that are illegal for anybody under 16 to be using, and these are all things that will get enforced as we get into the year a little later, is what I'm hearing. And then I had the Santa Barbara County School Boards Association meeting, and that's just an association hosted by the County Office of Education for representatives of the school boards of each of the districts in the county to meet and talk and go over whatever may be going on at their different school sites. And a few things that were discussed for some districts that have very new boards, a lot of professional development, Brown Act governance training. There's a new law that went into place this year that everybody has to go through an ethics training. We've all done it through CSBA. And we got updates on like AI, and that's where I found out about the event that the county office is having on Tuesday, September 30th, with Ken Shelton for families to learn about AI. And then just found out some interesting things that other schools are doing, and really doubling down on PLCs, which I know we do as well, and the success that they're having using those models. Again, I heard about that AI student summit in Orchid. I'm excited to hear more about that. Let's see here. Yeah. And then National Night Out. I went to National Night Out at Linden Field at the beginning of August 5th, to represent the school district, along with other community organizations. So I was down there that night, handed out a lot of school calendars, a lot of pens, but also just really great to talk with community members, parents, staff. It was a good night, and then we've had back to school nights coming along, and so that seems to be going really well. So, okay, and
Football home game this Friday.
oh yes, thank you. The first home football game is Friday, really exciting, and MORP is Saturday. So big weekend for the high school. All right, and with that, we are adjourned.